Hey, welcome back to Metropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's February 4th, 2025. We've entered the second month. How's everyone doing? I've asked that before. It's a Tuesday stream. We have a pretty busy week of streaming this week, which is nice. So today we're streaming. And then after this, there's a GNK in Montreal. So the stream might be slightly shorter than normal. We're going to go off and play some startup for the first time in a really long time, which is kind of cool. Oda Nouveau organized a startup event here in Montreal, and kind of at the last minute, and I really like this change for what it's worth, is that instead of having like the sort of placement based prize support, Nick was just like, we're just gonna raffle off everything. Like everyone gets participation prizes because there should be enough, and then I'm not sure what the prize is. I think it's like a full art burner that will just be raffled among all players, which like I think that's great because I don't think anyone really plays startup in Montreal, so we're all gonna be figuring it out at the same time. And I'm down to that. It's a really low pressure. If I get a burner, I get a burner. It's okay. Lucille, how's it going? Yo, startup. What a great format. What are you playing? Lucille, let me get back to you on that in a second. I just want to say hi to a couple other folks because I'll show you the problem I was running into in startup. Largely, I ended up playing decks that are very similar to what I have already sleeved up for standard. But I tried to do some deck building yesterday for startup, and I'll show you the problem I run into. Problem maybe is just a feature too. I think there's a bit of connotation there. What's on? How's it going? I'm going to see you tonight. Boris the champ, hey y'all, how you doing? Grendel, good morning everyone, how you doing? Any guesses on how long op is? Wait, what, Axu? How you doing? What do you mean how long op is? Huh? Okay, so check this out, Lucille. So I was building a startup deck last night. I was watching some Neon Static and I was like, I want to build a startup deck. And specifically, I realized the cool interaction you can do in startup is you can play Hermes DAO, right? So you have all the cards you want for Hermes DAO, really. And let's try and build it. So we go to Netrunner deck. And then we go to Shaper. We can go to Startup first. That makes more sense. We can go to Shaper and we can pick our identity. So I'm going to play DAO Salonga. Oh, how big is the boat? Oh, it's really, really big. There's actually like an FAQ that tells you how big it is. It's really, 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 really big. Solmir, how's it going? There are other boats in the yard for scale. How big are those boats? Hermes DAO is known to be good. I believe it, but this is the problem I ran into, right? So I go to collection, I go to startup. Brennan, how's it going? And so I started putting together a deck. And I'll show you how far I get until we run into problems. So I went something like this, right? We have to go startup ban list. Trickshot doesn't show up here. So you also have to hit casual. Like, I'm not sure what I'm meant to do, but Trickshot doesn't show up, which makes it really easy to forget you can play Trickshot in the format. So that's not great. We want to play 2 Hermes because that's important. And then we probably want to play some multi-axis that snowball. So we'll probably play Conduit, but I think we have to play 2 Conduit on the basis that we can't find it consistently. There's no self-modifying code. I don't think we want to muse for a Conduit. That's the only way that we can tutor from our deck. Mutual Favor doesn't get it. So we probably have to play 2 Conduit. And this is where the deck starts. And then you start putting in all the slots that are like common slots, and you end up, I think, with some problems relatively quickly. Oh, Trickshot is here. Never mind. I'm making that up. Why didn't I see it? So we want to play Diesel because you need card draw. Card draw is pretty bad in the format. And then we probably play 1 or 2 burner. Now, the issue is card draw is bad in the format, right? Like if we go to X draw, and then we go into this box, like you can play Joyride. And I think Joyride is kind of cool. It might make sense in Hermes DAO. So you can always include one of these if you want. You probably should play VR-cation. But the other card draw card that's really good in the format for Shaper is Lilypad. And Lilypad is really good in the format, which like already I'm fighting against Hermes in a pretty bad way, where it's like, okay, well, we can play Lilypad and it probably be a bit more consistent than Hermes, but we lose card draw, but it is what it is. Okay, regardless from this point, if we keep going, what do we want to play here? So then we have our other slots. We'll play 3 Sure Gamble. We'll play Dirty Laundry because we need to. What other hardware we'll play? I reckon we can play like maybe some DZMZs. What I thought would be really fun too is that what works really well with Hermes is Window of Opportunity. It gives us a bit of click compression to set up, but also if we derez ice during a run and steal an agenda, not that this works with Conduit really well, we can bounce the ice. So like Window of Opportunity seems really good. And then of course, if you're playing Window of Opportunity, you want to consider like Saucy, and you kind of see where this is going, right? You end up basically getting to a point where you put together your whole program suite, and you probably should run 2 of each programs because I don't think you have consistency and you don't have that easy recursion. So if we want to play like say 2 Unity, maybe it's much harder to play things like Slap Vandal and like Physarum and Botchus because you're not Arasana. Again, we'll get to that issue. So then we're going to play like, I guess 2 Echelon maybe, and then 2 Pressure Spike if we don't want to spend influence. Then we could technically play a single admin if we wanted to. Overclock seems okay in the format. You have trick shot, and also you don't have SMC, so like overclocking out an admin cheaply doesn't make a lot of sense. But like if you can set up 2 ice on R&D that are both 3 strength or whatever number you have to worry about in startup, when I'm not too sure what the ice looks like, that can be good. And then you go to the resources, then you're like, oh, I guess we play 3 telework. And this is where like the deck starts collapsing in on itself with deck building. It's like, I don't think this deck has enough money, and I don't think we can put enough money into it. So I think the only way that we can get like a really strong economic engine that will outlast the mid to late game is by playing Aesop's Pawnshop. I think this is the one card Shaper has access that you can build an entire economy suite around. Maybe you can play Proco, I'm not too sure. It seems pretty slow. Maybe it's not slow enough. Or it's not too slow. So if we play Aesop's Pawnshop, then you're like, okay, well, we need to sell things, which means we need to stall things. So then you end up playing, okay, then we have to play like Muse and Coalescence. And then we already have DZs, but now we have an MU problem. And then we probably should be drawing cards. So we'll cut the Hermes and we'll play Lily Pads. Okay, so now we have a draw engine. And now at this point, like we have the Muses, so we're kind of incentivized to play some Trojans. So let's play like a Phaserum maybe. We could play a Spree if we wanted to. We can play a Botulus. We can play a Slap Vandal. And then we realize like, Aesop's is the mainstay? Oh, 100%, I believe. But like as soon as I built this deck and then realized like, okay, we can solve our card draw issues and our economic issues by playing Aesop's Pawnshop, we end up building this deck, which is like, I think the Shaper deck in startup. You probably can put your 3 Saucies in it, and then you probably put like your Urban Art Vernissages. I get cornered so quickly where it feels like there's not that many tools to solve too many issues that I either have to make some pretty strong, not considerations, but like, what's the word? There's a perfect word here. I can't come up with the word, but you have to, you know, there's some drawbacks, and I feel like you can make the deck without any drawbacks, but then you just end up playing Arasana. Teller, Creative, Gamble, Verbal, Diesel is good enough economy, especially with Saucy Wappa playing your money. But we're not even playing Saucy because I don't think Saucy is worth playing in Lat. Sorry, not in Lat, in DAO. Like, I don't want to spend a click to install the Saucy. I don't know if that's worth it. Maybe it is in startup. But if as soon as I'm playing Saucy, I have a huge incentive to play Arasana. This is the issue. Like, Saucy's also particularly not amazing with Hermes, because if you bounce the ice because they don't res the ice, like, you have to bounce unres cards. And so if you Saucy an ice and they don't res it, you have to bounce it, which kills your Saucy. You see, like, I'm just getting painted into the corner. The more I tried to build a Hermes DAO deck, the more I ended up with an Arasana list. And I can't figure out how to like make Hermes DAO not feel like an issue. Like, I feel like I'm making a huge compromise. I think that's the word I was coming up with. Let me catch up on chat. AJ, how's it going? What's going on here? Startup DAO? Yeah, it's Startup DAO, right? Look at our DAO over here and our Hermes and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. You can click casual to see standard ban cards. I'm worried that this ignores the ban list entirely. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure if we'll be able to say. Funny Rubik's Cube man. Hey, Meether. My decks are built, but I'm keen to learn for the future. Yeah, Zen, how's it going? I'm glad you're coming out. I think for me, it's just like experience what startup is. I have no idea, so I don't have any big expectations. For what it's worth, it's just like a cool thing to see. So it is what it is, but I'm probably going to end up playing like just a good stuff Shaper deck because I do think it builds itself. It does ignore the ban list entirely. Oh, so it actually shows you Creative Commission in here? Like, that's not good. Right, like, this works though. Like, this shows you trick shot, so I was wrong. It does work. You don't have to hit the casual button. This might be a standard brained take. You can always click to draw. You can, but like, I feel like the trade-off I'm taking to be Hermes DAO is not worth that. And again, maybe that's fine. I don't know how fast corporations are. If a corporation is not incredibly quick, you can afford to click to draw. Like, there's a just big chance that startup is slow enough for you to do all that. It's just like the more I built the Shaper deck, the more that the card pool that existed pushed me to this card. And the more I pushed to this card, the more I ended up here. Which was annoying because I didn't want to play Arasana. You should play Verbal. It's playable for real. I'd rather play Earthrise than Verbal. Wait, can I? Is that in the format? I'd rather play Earthrise than Verbal 100% of the time. I think it's very, very difficult to find a situation where Earthrise is not better than Verbal, let alone in a world where we have Urban Art Vernissage, so we can install the Earthrise cheaper at any point in time in the game. Again, I do think clicking for the basic action is fine, but like Verbal is just such a rough card because if you don't draw it in the early game, it's not even great. While Earthrise Hotel is almost always at least a click for 6 cards. Even if the game's over, it's a click for 2 cards, that's fine. Well, Verbal's 2 clicks for 2 cards at the minimum on the time that you get it down. Only if you don't draw it. Like, it's so easy to draw the Verbal and then it beat a dead card because you've already drawn this turn. I really don't like this card, the way that it's worded. Yo, droids, how's it going? I don't see a problem here. The main Shaper cards in startup are from Liberation, which means they'll skew heavily towards Arasana. No, 100%. Like, it's a feature of the format. It's the sort of thing where, like, I wonder if people are playing startup if they want to get, like, It's good that standard has an enticing bigger card pool. I'm just like pretty convinced we're gonna go to the startup event today and it's gonna be like 6 Arisanas and like 6 personal evolutions or whatever. Right? Like that, I don't know if that's super exciting. We'll find out. Using so much blue influence, maybe you should be Crim. The thing is, like, playing Trojans in anybody besides Arisana is really difficult. And I do think the criminal card pool in startup is particularly quite bad, unless you're playing like Bypass Mercury, maybe. Right, like it's just an issue. Like, check this out. So we go to collection. Let's go to, well, we're in startup. So let's go to the criminal card pool. Like, you're missing just so many strong fundamentals because Null Signal Games just did not print criminal economy cards in the last like set and a half. It's really, really bad, right? Like, say we search X credit. Oh, well, you have to spell it right. Like, these are your credit cards you have in the format. Career Fair. These are events, mind you. Meeting the Minds, which is not an economy card. Networking, which is barely an economy card in the right matchup, and Tread Lightly. Like, that is just going to be a problem. If you search Draw and the criminal world, like, you just have nothing. Like, the criminal card pool, there's no cards that say Draw and criminal in startup. Like, besides Chrysopian Scheming, which is a cantrip. Like, it is really, really hard to play criminal, I think, in startup, unless all your influence does all the work. It just, and then even then, like, play Mercury Bypass, I think, is the winning line. It's rough because obviously the strength of the faction is almost entirely dependent on how good the last cycle was for the faction, and obviously, like, there's issues here. That's what spending influence for Diesel for. Yeah, but I'm not excited about that. Right? Like, I'd rather play a faction that feels like it has inherent internal synergies as opposed to being like, oh, my deck is mostly band-aids, trying to fix my bleeding. Teller Creative Gamble Verbal, excuse me. Hey, Bobulin, how's it going? I really appreciate your YouTube videos. I've been trying to get into the games, but I find Jinteki.net pretty opaque for watching and learning to play. They've helped me tons. Hey, thank you so for the kind words and welcome to the game. I think I understand how Jinteki.net is not the simplest to learn. What I highly recommend is if you get involved in the Green Level Clearance Discord channel, it's super easy to pop into the Looking for Games channel and either flag down a mentor, just say like, hey, I'm a relatively new player who hasn't figured out Jinteki.net. Can someone spend like the next hour to sit down with me and play through a game slowly and explain everything? And you generally get a response in the next 2 to 3 minutes. I would recommend that. I know it's a bit of a hurdle. This game has a pretty steep learning curve, let alone learning the JNet interface. It's not going to make it easier as much as the JNet interface I think is great. But I would highly recommend that. Is if you can ask around in Green Level Clearance Discord and someone can sit down with you, because it's the easiest way to get more reps into this game and get better at the game. Playing the game is the best way, so cannot recommend it enough. Saucy DZ MZ Haysop should be fine outside of Arisana. Installing a Saucy, and this is my standard pill to take for a click, is so rough. It is so rough. Also, Urban Art Vernissage is not that good in the format. Like, if you don't run Urban, it's really, really hard because I think Magnet's a very good card in startup and you can't play Muse. So Trojans in a world where you don't have Simulchip or don't have Muse are so much worse, where the corporation can either just purge, play a Magnet, or trash the ice. And I think in all those situations, you're building into a corner case. Well, you're just basically like, you are cornering yourself. Where if the corporation can play around you, it's much harder to play around Arisana and to play around Recursion. And you just don't have any of the speed, the Recursion, or the economy engines associated with any of that stuff. You can do it in Criminal, but I think the issue is like, I feel like I'm making such that word I'm still not thinking of, but like a compromise, a very, very big compromise, unless I'm playing something that looks like this. Radish, you can't fit both Sassy and Wind of Opportunity, yeah? In this, we can. In this, we can. We can also play like a Botulus and call it a day. Like, this seems good. You can even play Spree if you want. Cut some cards. But you can absolutely just click for credits and play economic run events like Wapo and Laundry. Corps are not that quick. You can use the basic action. Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't know. When I have this deck that seems a bit more oiled, it's hard for me not to do it. I'm watching your stream at work, hey Rashi, while opening my newly acquired copy of the Ashes cycle and explaining Netrunner to my coworkers. Oop. Oh, yo, did you pick up Ashes as your first cycle? Or do you have some other stuff before? Ashes is like really interesting because there's also NSG's first cycle. There's some like really enduring cards in there. And then there's also cards I think that NSG wouldn't print now, but it's very exciting. And Ashes still is like a majority, or it like has a really big part in current organized play. Full commit to the Dow LARPing. I mean, being pushed into Ari makes sense. She's supposed to be shaper card pool for the current rotation. 100% it makes sense. I'm sorry I'm behind on chat. Like, it totally makes sense. I just like, I feel constricted. The card pool is small. When you're clicking to draw most turns, verbal becomes better. I would probably still play Proco there, I think. But I don't think you click to draw when you have Earthrise. Troy Young, how's it going? Welcome to the channel, maybe. How you doing? What corp are you doing? I tried Trig of Light, BTL, and Startup. It was good fun. I think I'm just gonna play Personal Evolution because I had a Personal Evolution deck slotted up, and like it seems really good. It's one of the few alternate win conditions in Startup is PE. So enjoy. I tried to make a criminal deck, and when I saw Class Act is not in Startup, I switched directions. Honestly, I think you can focus this deck a bit more. Currently, Saucy, cut, slap, cut the Ace-Ups engine, and add events in the deck is fine. It's where I started, and I ended up on this because I think this looks more consistent and looks more flexible and looks more fun. Whether it's fine or not, I'm pretty sure it is going to be fine. I feel like the bar for fine though is relatively low. It seems like in Startup. But yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue. I feel like you basically have to be Zaya for Crim and Startup if you don't want any money. Yeah, I could see Zaya doing something. For what it's worth, like Zaya, Hermes, you can do the window opportunity conduit stuff, like 2 conduit Zaya and just not give a shit. Like I think that might be fun. Who knows? Yo, Ryan, Borealis rotating hurt Startup. I kind of still hanging on to the Dawn waiting room. I think there was a bunch of people who were playing like Borealis Startup for a while until the recent the recent Startup ban lists as of like September last year. I've no doubt Startup is a lot better now with the ban list. So we're excited to see what it looks like. But yeah, I did enjoy Dawn Startup. I haven't played enough Borealis Startup. Sorry, I have enjoyed Borealis Startup. I haven't played a lot of RWR Liberation Startup. Steve, Zaya, and Mercury all have playable decks and Startup that have seen results. From my understanding that like people can play Steve to play Jaichinyo decks. I'm not a big Jaichinyo fan. I don't really feel like I like most of the alternate win conditions in Netrunner for some reason. So I don't think I'd end up playing Jaichinyo, but I'm pretty sure Jaichinyo is fine in Startup. If the decks are slow, this seems good. Hey, Elwin, I'm doing well. How you doing? We're going to be playing some Pawnshop. Not Startup Pawnshop, I think. Standard Pawnshop. But concession. Oh, that's it, Hexnet. Thank you. It's concession. That's the word I was looking for. Eric, how's it going? How's your coffee? Tell me more about your drip coffee. Not your drip coffee, your pour over, excuse me. The Arasana deck is one of the stronger decks. I'm a big fan of the Saucy Wapo version, but again, that's a feature because it's Liberation Startup. I think this is like also maybe doubly powerful in Startup because this is such a difficult interaction to play into or play around. And maybe if more people playing Startup are newer to the game, like this is going to be even more busted, like just really hard to deal with. I think this is a hard thing to play around. It's a hard thing to know what's the right thing to do. And if you do this interaction incorrectly as a corporation, the runner gets so much value into it. So I think this is going to just be very, very strong. We don't see a lot of it in Standard, and I'm not 100% sure why. I feel like slots and influence just go further in the modern Arisana lists that have stronger win conditions as well, but who knows? Ashes is so wild because it's mostly absolute bangers and absolute misses. Yeah, there's not too much in the middle. It's usually one of the sides or the other. Hey, VT, how's it going? We're going to be playing some ASOS Pawnshop. We have a bit of news to go through at the beginning because there's like 4 or 5 articles on NSG website, which are great. After that, we're going to be diving into some game. I really wanted Hoshiko. Okay, that tracks. I picked up SG a couple months back, followed by all of Ashes, all the Borealis, and TIA. My FLGS is out of RWR. Oh, okay, cool. That's super, super cool. Yeah. Ashes has, again, some really enduring cards. Hoshiko sees an incredible amount of consistent play. I think she will largely forever. I don't know what you can do to make Hoshiko not the best option. So it's a pretty safe pick if you think. I'm very well, watch all the time, just lurk. Love your content. Oh, thank you, Troy. That's very kind. Eric, this is the sort of deck that I ended up building on stream yesterday. While you were streaming, I ended up with something like this. Both Jaichinyo Steve and just recurring gear economy Steve sees plays and are fine. Well, then what happens if they like put a Chrysium on HQ? I can't find Chrysium, but you know, like I don't. Do people just not ice HQ well? Like Criminal doesn't have good breakers. How is Steve getting good value running HQ? Like Sneak Door, I guess? Who knows? I've lost a super deep borehole, so I'm contractually obligated to say I don't have alt win cons. I don't hate alt win cons. Is there any room for Knife, Ari, and Startup? Influence just being Knife and Fizerum? If you run Knife, that's all your influence, isn't it? 15 influence? I just searched Knife. I think Jaichinyo's... Oh, you can do it. So you can do... It's 12 and then 1 Fizerum. I imagine you could. Like, I don't think any of this stuff is super, super crucial. Like, at the end of the day, I'm explaining what I like. I don't think I feel good Jaichinyoing people. I don't feel like when that happens, I'm like, all right, that was a great game. We go in for a handshake and everyone's like, high five, that was sick. I feel like this is a win con that doesn't feel great for your opponent. I don't know. You probably could get away with it. I wonder if you have to run Spree then. Because I think Spree is probably okay with Jaichinyo. Because it means that you can move your 1 Trojan around, your 1 or 2 Trojans, so you can like slap Vandal through. You might even like drop Fizerum and play Botulus. I'm not sure. I don't know how many barriers are really, really good. Been making some Vietnamese coffee from a Fin filter and enjoying it like quite a bit. Interesting Eric coffee talk. Just play Deep Dive Ari. You can't in startup. Doing pretty good myself. It's raining like crazy though. Oh, we had really big snow today. Or yesterday. It snowed a heck of a lot. What are you playing on the corp side for startup? Personal evolution with like the 2 alternate kill conditions you have and scoring out, which seems just fine. Why run all centrals 3 times when you can do it once? Well, I don't think you have deep dive in startup, do you? Twist my arm. About 3 weeks ago, I decided to try pour over. I kept buying it, just one more thing, and now I have a flatbird grinder, Ode Gen 2, an electric kettle, and it's blowing my mind. Hario Switch. I've been drinking drip for like 25 years and had no idea how much better it is. It's hilarious how much better it is. I technically got into that sort of coffee stuff like over the last 3 or 4 years, mostly through my brother. So we got like a nice, affordable, like entry level, nice grinder, burr grinder. It's the, shit, what is it called? I don't know the name of it. Because why would I know the name of it? It's good. And then we started with AeroPress, which, Eric, have you ever tried AeroPress? AeroPress is really simple. It's really nice. It's kind of charming how simple it is. And that's like the fast way to make coffee for me. I'll do pour over on like a weekend if I have time. And then otherwise I'll do like Chesva coffee because I have a whole bunch of like flour ground Bosnian or Greek coffee, which I like. Pour over, I haven't had like enough time to sit down there and like, you know, try different recipes and really like figure it out. But you can lose a lot of time into that because basically anything you change about the process, about you like preheating the funnel, the pour rate, how you bloom it, how you swirl it, it's a huge effect on everything. And like I'm not at the point where I've been drinking a lot of like nicer coffee, but I'm not at the point where I can like feel it. I taste a difference. It's strange because I'm like deep in the sauce, but not in a way that I think anything matters. It's weird. I was watching the old Midnight Sun tier list and you guys were referencing Panic Piranha. What was that? Oh, that's a cool question. So Piranha Foods was this identity that was just like universally good against all opponents. The first time the runner draws a card, gain a credit, right? So this is not a thing that you build around as much as there was Piranha cards that said like the runner draws a card on the start of your turn and so you get a credit, right? But Piranha was just like the mid-range, reasonable deck. It kind of fits the slot modernly, as much as we haven't seen it recently too much, of precision design. Where it's like, if you don't know what the meta is, if you don't want to sweat about figuring out a new fancy deck, you just brought your good Piranha deck that ran good mid-range ice, scored out good agendas, and that was that. It was called Panic Piranha or Comfort Piranha, whatever you wanted to call it. But basically, if you're going to an event and you wanted to have a good time, but you didn't want to worry about the meta, you just played Piranha. I would say modernly precision design is kind of that. As of the last month, it hasn't been. But Panic Piranha was like the safety net deck. It was just really fun, really good. We had like really busted mid-range ice for a long time. And then you had like good defensive upgrades as well. So, this one had Marcus Batty. This was in a different while, but you just scored out in a remote server. You had NGO fronts, you had Rashidas, you had really good ice. So like Toll Booth, like you just rezzed ice and the ice was just good enough. And then you just scored out agendas. And none of these agendas were like really like game warping effects. Nisei Mark II is really good. This is still in the game. Obakata, mind you, was just like, oh, you need cards in hand. This card is banned. It is a hyper cursed card, but it was just like, there was no game plan here besides mid-range value town. It wasn't like it interacted with a subsection of the cards in a really strange way. It was just comfort. Super, super comfort. I enjoy playing a knife game as a corp. There is counterplay. I mean, my counterplay is just like ice placement, isn't it? Like, I hope you put all your ice in one place and you don't flood up. I don't know. For berries, Logjam is a problem and Brawn is always great. Yeah, Brawn seems really good. I think Leech is one of the best cards in startup, ignorantly. Like, I don't know better. Leech seems really, really good. I worry about ice destruction to some extent. I'm not a 3x Lotus Field believer. I think that's just way too much money for not good enough ice. But I don't know. I'm always hyped for a knife win. Most of the times I play against a knife deck, they just win on points. Barriers are good because fractures are bad. I believe that. I think I'm playing like Pressure Spike, which like, yippee. I don't like most alt win cons. I'm gonna bring PE to this GNK. Yeah, but like PE is the win con that came in the core set. It is like the canonical win con. Get to 7 points or you flatline. I don't like the alternate win cons, which are like, oh, you did something and then something bad. Like, I don't know. I don't have to I'm rationalizing why I think that. Whether you think that is a cogent argument, that's up to you. But you know what I mean, maybe? I started on French press, the mocha pot, but laziness has sent me to drip. Oh yeah, I French pressed for the longest time. For the longest time, I had French press because it could brew a lot of coffee that I would put in a thermos and bring that to work. I have a mocha pot. I got one for Christmas, or I think, yeah, recently as a gift. I've only done it once or twice. The last time I mocha potted, for those who don't know, it's like that Italian device that you put on top of the thing. The mocha pot I have is like a 6-cup thing, and it makes really strong coffee. And I drank like half of it, and it had an impact on my day. That was way too much coffee to drink. I don't think I realized how strong it would be and how much coffee it would make. It should be either like watered down or it should be drank like an espresso type thing. But I haven't touched it in a bit because the last time I drank it, it really messed me up. It was way too much coffee. I've indeed tried AeroPress, but it wasn't with good beans. Oh, come back and do that. Terrence, it's an electric grinder. Brazia, something like that. This one, I have this one. It's nice. It's the Brazza Encore. It's nice. Yeah, this was my partner and I split this a long time ago. This is like a good entry level grinder from my understanding, circa like 5-6 years ago. You have this one? Yeah, Kato. This one's sick. It's been great. I've don't maintain it enough. I should clean it once a month or so. It's not bad to clean. The burrs, they do rust, so you want to be careful when you take it apart and you wash it and dry it. But it's been great. We've had it for 6-7 years, no problem. My sister and her husband has one. My brother and his wife have the same one. Just fine entry-level grinder. Is grinding the beans actually worth it? Pre-ground just sounds so much more convenient. 100% is worth it, actually, I think, because you have better access to different kinds of coffee. Because generally the stuff that's shipped in beans is like a bit weirder and a bit more like, you know, somebody cares about this in a specific strange way. And I think having that world is really nice. You also, it's a bit fresher. It's also really nice and fun to grind. Like it smells good. It's like a nice little ritual. So a big part of coffee is not to gatekeep it, but like, yeah, grinding coffee is like a really kind of fun thing to do. I like it a lot. Yeah, so yeah, you get some interesting coffees. I expect a lot of RNP at startup, but that's mostly because when you search NRDB, my UK Nats deck are still some of the top startup results. Yeah, Lucille, it is. I think like also Galehar's Lude deck shows up there pretty consistently. There's not a lot of corp decks. Like when you search startup, it's like mostly runner decks. I don't know why that is, but if you go to like search and you just hit the startup button and just like do a blank search, it's like all runner decks. Are corps just struggling? So this is Haver Funds. I think this is just like scoring out on a remote server. Yeah, Hollowman, Isaac, Clearinghouse. Okay, just like mid-range Glacier. There's nothing we can do. And then everything else is like a runner deck besides like the PE. This is from near the ban list. I think this is a ban list, but it's mostly runner decks. It's not 50-50. I like the ritual and experimental aspect of pour over. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if you have a scale with a timer and all that sort of stuff. My scale recently broke and I'm pretty upset about it. Plana Heart. Does somebody say Midnight Suns? Oh, never mind. Hey, Pat. Even if you're using a bad grinder, fresh ground coffee improves it by a lot. Yes, it does also improve the taste. Hey, Alex, I do miss Personal Portal, Agroplex, Focus Group decks. I played a bit of them. We also had like Harvester. There was some really weird like mill archetypes where you forced the runner to draw and that was your win con. I don't think people enjoyed playing against them. They weren't very good. Bring back Plana and Elevation. It's a fun idea. It's a really, really fun idea. Panic Sports. Yeah, Panic Sports is also another like panic deck, like a safety deck, but it plays radically different. Like the sports players, there used to be so many players who were just like reasonable at playing mid-range corporation, like scoring corp. And I think Sports Metal requires a slightly different like skill set. So I wouldn't exactly say that it's the same niche, but it is a very comfort deck. You would often end up into a world where it's an unsolved meta and it's like a third of the field is on Sports Metal because it's easy to play at tournaments. I do buy pre-made ice also because it's more convenient, so I might just like the convenience more. You buy pre-made ice? You live in the ice. Axu. I was thinking the other day, who buys pre-made ice? And the answer is Axu. I think people buy pre-made ice for parties and stuff, but like the recipe's really simple. I'm pretty sure you own a freezer. If you don't, I don't mean to rag on you. So weird going from a Paperclip Fractor meta to the post-Paperclip era. Braun was unplayable before Paperclip rotated. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I also drink instant a lot because I'm lazy, and if you pour a bunch of sugar and milk into it, quality matters a lot less. Yeah, like sometimes coffee is like taste, sometimes it's fun, sometimes exploration, sometimes it's like you need to stay awake. The Technology Connections video on Mocha Pots was a good watch. Oh, I've definitely watched it. Is Technology Connections the person in front of the Calyx who does all the great videos? I've seen all of them. Drinking black coffee is much more viable with good coffee. Yeah, I generally, unless it's like the Chesva coffee, I just drink black because like you taste the coffee and the coffee tastes better. The Finn coffee's pretty strong too. I make myself a pretty small cup in the morning. Yeah. Look up the Breep. What is it? The Breep? Portable outdoor coffee maker? It's a brew pipe. Oh, that's why it's called like that. This looks weird. I do not like this. This does not look like something I enjoy. Is this person smoking? The coffee? This is a way that they'll ask you to leave the library if you're doing this in there. Let me tell you. This is going to be hard to explain to people what you're doing and why. And for only $131, it's simply absurd. More of a chat guy myself. Good time. How's it going? Fresh ground is way nicer. Yeah, it's much, much nicer. Coffee that's been pre-ground doesn't last long before it gets stable, but you can make it last well splitting into smaller bags and freezing it. Coffee freezes pretty well. I've never freezed coffee, but I generally grab like local roast stuff that's trying to be like 2 weeks older at the most. Hey, Mama Chu, finally made it to love a stream. I love the content. I'm really looking forward to Sovereign Fall of Wormwood shipping in a few months. Have you come across this yet? No, I don't think I have. Mama Chu, how's it going? Thanks for the kind words. That is either one of two things. There's a game coming out called Wormwood, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's the full title or if you're talking about the thing from the Earthborn Rangers folks, which also has a name that is immediately forgettable, and it sounds like it could be that name. Either cases, I don't know a lot about them. I've got the scale with the timer as usually ended up all in. Look at the order of every Dune Imperium box I made boxes yesterday. Nothing in moderation. It's particularly not moderation. Need to get my meta to publish all the startup decks we've tested with plenty of good corps. Very, very cool. Sports Metal has the playstyle right in the tagline, go big or go home. But a lot of Sports Metal is just like, go flail or go home, right? Built the last PD, Epiphany, NEH, R+, PE, and RH are all completely playable and not hard to deck build. No, I agree. I don't think they're going to be that hard to deck build. I'm interested to see what we see tonight. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like very PE heavy. Notice how Lucy doesn't say Nuvem. Oops. I don't think you need Ix or IMO anymore. Either play base or jumped Uprising. I believe Eric has Uprising. Or is getting these for Uprising. David, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. How are you doing? You can't use outside ice and drinks. Dogs piss in that thing. You don't boil your dog piss before you drink it? Actually, boil it. Gyro, how's it going? Overnight cold brew is super easy to make. Highly recommend. I'm not super hot on cold drinks. I think my main part of why I like coffee is because it's hot. But my partner was into cold brew for a long time. I bet pre-made ice as a neurodivergency accessibility aid. We would never have ice if we had to remember to fill up all the ice trays, so we get bagged ice. No way, is it not a pain in the ass to get it out of the bag? It seems like it would suck. When I was a cook, I learned the value of pre-made ingredients. I buy minced garlic instead of cloves now. Real talk, I don't know how to cut garlic. Like, I'm a pretty reasonable cook. I know how to cut up an onion the way that chefs do it, real nice, real fast. But then you give me a clove of garlic, and I hate every minute of it. I don't do a good job. When I asked, like, my dad how to cut up garlic, he does it in his hands, cutting into his fingers, like, you know, they did back in the day, and he does a great job of it, but I'm not going to do that. Like, I just hate interacting with garlic. As much as, like, I want to put more garlic in everything than it asks for because it's garlic, but I just can't figure it out. It's cost. I swear. Can't you make your own damn pipe for a fraction of that cost? Yes. I imagine so. This is like a weird totally for coffee cover story for the actual intention. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, this sort of stuff they sell at the gas station for like holding plastic roses or whatever. Earthborn game is Hubworld Eidolon. Oh man. Why did I not remember that name? Hubworld Eidolon. F. Wormwood changed its name. It's fun enough, but singleton format makes it so swingy. Okay, so Wormwood added more words to its name. I need to apologize a bit. I was like roasting Wormwood on the channel like many moons ago because their art looked very, very suspect. And I looked into it and it looks like they did something kind of interesting where they couldn't afford as a new publisher to like commission all this new art. So they didn't go to AI. They went back and found older art on the internet that existed. And then they, I forget the verb for this, but they basically grabbed it with commission from the artist. They basically said like, can I use this art in a project? And so they saved a lot of money basically repurposing existing art on people's DeviantArt channels and stuff like that. I think that's really cool as an accessible way to get art in your product, and because that product has a lot of art. I did read the rule book of Wormwood a long time ago and it was kind of a mess. It specifically had sections that were like, the timing structure doesn't make sense, so figure it out yourself. And I was like, I don't think that's gonna sell for me. New piss drinking stress. Actually, if the piss is super warm, you can't taste it. I just bought Uprising, finally getting on the worm train. Oh, sick. Anyways, I'm like, I'll try Wormwood when it comes out, probably on TTS or something, but I haven't paid a lot of attention to it in a while. Played a lot of Dune X on the Steam client. It's great. Want to get Bloodlines too. Anyone else like cold brew and Coca-Cola mixed together? No. Weird. Interesting. Garlic press? Yes, but I also grew up in a household that doesn't like, you know, single-use gadgets, so that sort of bias, unfortunately. You hit the garlic with a hammer? I don't think it works like that. People are into this Coke and coffee thing. Can't you just smush the garlics on the flat of the knife? You can smush it, but like, so you still have to cut off the ends. You have to remove the shell. That's fine. That's not hard. But then if you smush it, you still just get like huge chunks of garlic. Like you need to dice it. He knows how to do garlic good. Ask John. Okay, I'll ask John. The World Startup Tournament might be worth checking out for meta decks. Yeah, but the World Startup Tournament wasn't the old meta hex. It was before the ban list, so it's just like not very usable data. Oh, that's not true. 2409. No, that's not true. It should be in the modern thing. The thing is, like, the World Startup Tournament was, for what it's worth, a weird tournament. Like, I don't want to undersell anyone's success in it, but it, like, a lot of people ended up playing it who played Startup for the first time. Like, I do think a lot of people who also did really well the tournament played Startup for the first time. So it's something where you think you can go for inspiration, but I don't think it's where you're going to go see like the best startup decks. I think it's where you're going to see like functional startup decks. It's just like a very strange tournament because a lot of people ended up playing in it. If you know what I mean, right? I don't know how many people traveled in to play startup. I've heard every opinion on which box and combination is the best and necessary, and everyone has a different take. I've loved Standalone Uprising and wanted to decide my own favorite. Would recommend grating garlic, much easier and more flavorful in my experience. I have struggled with, I don't know. I've been like, ginger's another thing I struggle with. Like I grate ginger and it just makes a hell of a mess. And it feels like if you grate ginger the wrong way, it turns into fibers really, really bad that are useless. I worry that garlic is going to frustrate me in the same way. I sound like a mess. I promise you it's not that bad. Paying the ADHD tax of having pre-cut and pre-chopped food saves me so much executive function. Oh, for sure, for sure. I think I need to be careful about like dunking on ice for that reason specifically. I know a lot of times people like shit on those, infomercials where it's like black and white and someone's like clearly struggling to get spaghetti into the bowl, which like for most people, that's not a particularly tricky task. But at the end of the day, like a lot of that stuff is an absolute game changer for people who, that the spaghetti is much more difficult than it is for you or I potentially. So it is what it is. It's super valuable. The taco place near me sells horchata and cold brew, and it's pretty great. Horchata is like a milk drink. First time popping in the stream. I've watched the last couple in excitement for Elevation. I'm greatly enjoying your work here. Manuel, welcome. Thank you so much. Having a bit of a hangout before I catch up on chat. We'll get into some Netrunner news. Normally we play the game usually an hour in. How are you doing? Yeah, they licensed old art, which like makes so much more sense because like I don't understand how they got bespoke art for every single damn card, and it has that sort of like edgy, gritty, high contrast art that looks like it's AI art, but it was just like old art that was licensed, which is cool. Wormwood's the place that makes fancy dice boxes and gaming tables, or Wormwood the game? Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe that's why they wanted to change their name. It was called Wormwood with an O. Wormwood with an Y is the sort of games table, and there's a lot of bad things to say about Wormwood from my understanding, but they're different people. It doesn't taste like coffee or Coke, but it is delicious. Getting prepared garlic is easy. Just buy something that costs exactly 1 cent more than the garlic and throw it into the trash. Boom, presto. Wait, what? The new rulebook is a lot better and actually has a timing structure. I'd recommend checking it out again. Okay, cool. I'm excited to see it. I have no doubt they got feedback to be like, you cannot make a card game with no timing structure. Just say figure it out. So I'm glad that they did something about it. Wormwood has better ability timing structure. I remember trying it out like shucks and broke the game apart by waiting till my opponent ended turn to do anything. Oh, ugly. Very cool. Cold brew and Moxie's delicious, but Moxie's basically Agostino bitters, root beer, and mixes extremely well. You can also cut the garlic with a knife. Actually, that's the problem I have. I can't. It's a space game, Andre. Look away. It's not a space game. It happens on planets are in space, but just like Earth is. Or Chatham Met, just smile. I look at the UK Net Startup Strike Fund for Strike Fund and the Midland Startup Tournament instead. Yeah, that's the thing is like I'd rather see like the list Lucille at the tournament you played in, I think. Garlic is easier to grate than ginger. Okay, actually you should try that then. If you're cooking the garlic, I'm not too worried about having some chunks. The unevenness only bothers me in raw applications. You got to get really mince it in that case. Yeah, the thing is like if you don't cut into even pieces, it doesn't cook well. Like just about everything, right? I cut the ginger really bad. I tried to do the ginger by knife instead of grating it for the last like curry I made, and like you could just chunks of ginger in the food. It was not good. Martin, how's it going? Espresso and tonic or cold brewed plus tonic is the perfect refresher on a hot summer's day. Huh. I haven't dived into espresso. I feel like that's a slope that's very expensive. And for somebody who like, putters around with coffee stuff seems like a dangerous slope. I don't know. I have a 2-pound jar of pre-minced garlic, lasts for a long time. It's easy to add anytime you want some. I think Maddie picked that up somewhat recently, a smaller jar for the fridge, and she uses that for everything. I think it makes sense. Also for games, I learned how to play the new 7th Sea LCG City of the Five Sails. The core dueling mechanic is really good. Isn't 7th Sea from Pinebox? That's like the Doomtown people, right? Horchata is a rice drink. Oh, excuse me. Came for the Netrunner, still here for the Netrunner. No, craving coffee. Hey, Playmat, sorry about that. I'm just trying to catch up on chat, and then we'll dive into something. Excuse me. Exams happen next week, but for now, I'm good, and I have seen the topics are generally interesting, even if I don't drink any coffee. And I know nothing of Wormwood, although I might check it out. I'll pull it up. Good luck in your exams, eh? Hopefully you're doing well. Wormwood board game. They changed their name. This is not them. This is the board game table. It's called Sovereign Fall of Wormwood. I can't imagine that to be the best name, but yeah. So I was a bit skeptical about the art. It seems like it was licensed art, so that's good. But it's a up to 4-player game. It has like Netrunner-like elements. So without you put cards face down, and then every turn you can either automatically or spend money to advance a card. And then once the card has enough advancements on it functionally, it like flips up and becomes the card. But also you win the game by advancing these things that are like agendas that go into that same slot. But when they're advanced, they don't get you a card. They just get you an agenda point functionally. And then you win by getting a certain amount of agenda points. So the idea is that your resources that you're investing in, let alone your agendas, they're all like kind of secretly in different remote servers. And then when you attack, I think you can challenge different servers, and based off whatever server you hit, there's a different effect. So if you run functionally HQ, I think they discard a card from hand maybe. If you run one of the advanced cards in a remote server, you can access it, and if it's an agenda, you can steal it. So it's about like bluffing and advancing things. Core mechanics seem like fine. It seems interesting. Sometimes it's difficult where you have a game that's like very similar to something that you already like. Like this seems kind of a lot like Netrunner, but like making games super similar is tricky because often if it's not as good or better, people just end up being like, oh, I'd rather play Netrunner. And this, I don't know if that's the case, but it has a lot that's very similar to Netrunner, which oftentimes like makes me more worried than excited because it's hard to compete with Netrunner. Let me tell you, it really, really is. I don't know when this is out. I'm not sure when this comes out. 2024. So before it's out already. I don't know. My town had Pride for the first time last year, which was exciting. Oh, sick. But then their logo was very obviously AI. Oh, not sick. And they outright denied that it was AI. Was very conflicted. Yeah. You see that a fair bit, whether it's people, I don't know. It's just such a bad vibe when you go to like a restaurant, they have a mural. It's like clearly AI. It's like, I don't like any of this. Do you not smash the garlic with the flat part of the knife? I do that. Cold Lava, how's it going? Just to get like the shell off. I don't feel like that does the whole process. You're having trouble managing garlic with a knife. Maybe you could try scissors. I feel like that's harder. I don't know. Tak, how's it going? Yeah, it's a bit of a cooking show right now. ASRN working today, so missing the coffee talk. Shout out to pour over enjoyers. Tastes so good. Pretty good. Do you cut the cloves in half before trying to slice them? Makes it easier to get even pieces since the flat side's on the cutting board. Usually I do like a, how's it going, Mako? We're going really into the garlic talk. I usually do it like I do an onion, which is about making it like a 3D array, right? Like I do like 2 slices on the long side, but not all the way through. So there's a bit of like a kind of like a book, and then I go the other way and then I cut it off. Just the same way that you do an onion. For an onion, you would cut it in half first because cutting a sphere is cursed on a flat surface. So you cut it in half and then you do like one way, and then chop through. Technically, you don't have to do the third way in an onion because it's slide out. Like that's the way onions are. Shrek. 7th Sea is a 5 sales, is indeed from Pine Box. Okay, so I kind of know what that one is. It's a successor to the old L5 Iron Spirit. For real. Jeb, how's it going? Craving horchata over here. I'm in an ugly issue with like Pine Box right now. If I want to order like new expansions for what's it called? Doomtown, the shipping's like $50. That doesn't make any sense. $50 American for shipping to Canada. We're not going to talk about the trade war, but that was before that. Like that's just bad. Like I can't buy that. I can't spend the price of the box to ship the box, and then like nobody stocks Doomtown in Canada. Like it's just kind of done. To Dice Ginger, what you do is cut across the grain into thin coin-shaped slices, cut those slices, then chop them top down. That sounds very reasonable. We're finishing up the second expansion for 7th Sea at the moment. New leaders coming. Oh, cool. So how's it going? I think I watched a tutorial of 7th Sea. I haven't picked it up or played or anything, but it looked very like a lot was going on. Did a 2-player game followed by a 4-player game last night. I won the 2-player game. We made the 4-player game end on day 2. We piled 7 renown into the forum. Sometimes people pay someone for a commission, but then that person builds it without AI without disclosing it. Yes. Oh, I reckon that happens more often than not. I think pretty major companies, when they end up with like AI stuff in their stuff, usually it's because they didn't know and it was outsourced. That's not to like be apologistic for when it shows up, but yeah. Garlic is the best when sliced thin, but not diced. Change the vibe. Yeah, but Jake, I also used to hate cutting up garlic, but my partner showed me the ultra hack. Oh, scrolling for ultra hack, cut in half, then cut long way into stripes, then dice. I think that's what I'm doing. It's not going well. Okay. He's stopping by. Are we talking about how hard it is to find games that feel as good as Netrunner? Laura, only kind of. Like, I didn't want to exactly say it like that. I just like, I ran into issues where there's a lot of games that are inspired by Netrunner, but feel too close to Netrunner that makes you want to play Netrunner. I feel like the last game that's kind of skirted that, but hasn't landed into that camp is Compile. Because Compile kind of looks like Netrunner and it themes like Netrunner, but it doesn't functionally play like Netrunner. So I've played Compile and still thought like, oh, Netrunner would be a fun game, but like it's still Compile. Like it's still kind of hella cool and really, really fun. There's a playmat for that. That's kind of neat and unnecessary. I think you're overthinking the garlic cutting. Just set down on the clove end it like you would any long veggie, then slice up the slices and rock the knife over it randomly until it's tiny. I just don't like the random until it works bit. What are your thoughts on arcs? I haven't played it. I feel like I haven't played a leader game and thought like, ooh, that was my favorite game. I've played one game, which is not what you're meant to doing, of the last one, of the one with the legacy components. I've watched people play arcs. I'm generally pretty bad. I own a bunch of Root and I've played like next to no Root. And I think every game I played of Root has been like a bit flawed because Root games are a bit flawed until everyone's played it the same amount. And then like you still have to play like that sort of king or queen making game. And if you don't police someone to keep them in check, they run away with the game. I don't think I've played a leader game where I've been like, besides the art, which is my favorite, I don't think I've played a leader game and been like, this is fantastic. Now, the problem I run into these sorts of games is that you have to attack someone, and I'm really bad at those games. I'm really bad where the play is to take my ships, and this might not be the case in arcs, it just looks like it, and I have to move my ships into this sector, and then I have to do an attack action. Turns out I don't like attacking my friends. I just don't like it. I feel like it's feel bad. If I crush them out of the game and push them out, I feel like a dickhead. Like it's just a hard bridge to cross in games where like combat is part of the game. Now there's some games I think that do a better job at making you feel okay about that. I haven't played it yet. What is the name of that Egyptian themed god game? But the idea is that no matter how combat resolves, everyone gets a reward, right? Like I play Eclipse 2nd edition, and even then, like I generally don't play the aggressive factions. I play defensive and I spread, and then if we get into combat, we get into combat. But I just feel like such a knobhead bringing my ships into their territory and then attacking. I just can't get over that, which means there's a whole bunch of games that unless I can play some sort of interesting passive strat, I will just not enjoy. It's a problem. It's a problem. 7th has an officially supported TDS mod, and Doomtown has a browser simulation to techie. Yeah, I only play Doomtown like the pre-con decks with my partner. Like we played it in paper. I don't really have an interest in playing Doomtown online. Knife skill stream time. Kyle, how's it going? The Doomtown web client is nice. Yeah, I've seen it. It looks good. Arcs is so good. Oath, yeah, thank you. I played one game of Oath. I had a good time. It was a lot of like king and queen making. Like we were basically deciding the game could end this turn unless we do something, and we ended up always in that loop for 2 or 3 turns. The ending was really exciting. It produced a cool narrative, but it was also my first game at that table, so I didn't have like any understanding of the history of the game. But I was neat. It was very, very neat. But it wasn't like my favorite mechanical experience. It was like a fun social thing to do with friends. All 3 games really lean into king making as a core intention component. Yeah, that's something that's probably not going to sit well with me, no matter how you slice it. I didn't like the Cole Worley games other than PAX Premier into Arcs, which I really like. The fact that this is a trick-taking game, like I like trick-taking games a lot. I've also played only like 2 or 3 games of PAX Premier. Most of them had 2 players, one with 3 players, and I think the game has some really, really ridiculously interesting systems. But I haven't had enough time with it to be like, oh, this is incredible. It might be. My last contribution on food today. One of my favorite dishes is a Khmer Cambodian dish, which is basically thin sliced grilled beef served with julienne ginger and onions cooked in fish sauce. It's the case in Arcs. Coke, how's it going? I believe it. You absolutely have to attack your friends in Arcs. It's a problem. It's not going to be an easy sell for me. I don't know what to do about it. Do you want to play a nice space game? Play Sidereal. I've watched people play a huge game of Sidereal. From my understanding, Sidereal's the trading game, right? Like Sidereal looked hella cool. Sidereal was like exactly what I wanted to do. It kind of looks like people playing Model UN in a non-antagonistic way. Not that Model UN gets antagonistic, but it looked sick. Wormwood on the Kickstarter does state that the final release will include some of AI. They've admitted to using AI and painting over it for filling out the backgrounds. Oh, that's a bummer. That's disappointing. Everyone's saying Komet. Yes, Komet is the one I'm thinking of. That sucks. Thank you for sharing that. You can choose what score points in Arcs, and shooting ships is only one of 6 options for scoring. Sure, but I reckon there's a difference between scoring and also like having control. Like maybe it doesn't score you, but I reckon like holding the sector 5 and 6 or whatever this is might be important for the game. I don't know. I just don't like shooting my friends. unless it's like a first-person shooter in which you respawn. I have played PAX, yeah, the second edition. Arcs is only about attacking for you on the rounds. It's about attacking for everyone, which makes it feel a lot more fair. Cool. I've heard so many good things from this from like, obviously like content creators, friends, folks. Like this is probably a more interesting one that I'd like. I just haven't sat down to play it yet. Arcs will totally make you feel bad. Then you totally attack people and steal their stuff and screw them over. Oh shit, I'm out. Okay, never mind. Hey, second that. Do not like attacking unless it's the entire point of the game and I don't have to feel bad about it. I feel bad about it. Like I just can't get over that. And like maybe this is the same thing where I don't like magic and stuff like this. It's like if my basic action on my turn is to destroy your unit so you don't have a unit, so you cannot engage with the game, so you have less options on your turn, I don't want to play that game. I hate that experience. It feels so bad. And I struggle with any of these like minion trading games unless it's like I feel like when we played Keyforge, it didn't feel that bad because you can just like poop out like 4 troops every turn if your hand is good. So that didn't feel awful, but a lot of games that just feels bad to me. Doesn't like attacking, plays loud PE. I don't attack. Sometimes they get hurt on the furniture on the way in. I don't know. It's not my fault. Arcs makes you feel okay for attacking people. You kind of are encouraged to do how points work. It feels better than something like Eclipse for that. Yeah, Eclipse is rough because if you don't expand in Eclipse, you don't get resources. And if you don't get resources exponentially, you don't scale. Like there's some non-games of Eclipse. You have to attack, but it's about stuff more than the killing. So it's already incentivizes you to attack people with the stuff and winning rather than just beating up last place. Shooting ships is only 1 of the 6, but resources is 3 out of the 6, and stealing is the best way of getting resources. Oath is definitely stuck on my shelf. Sounds great, but committing people to sessions over time is difficult. Yes. I think that's also a charming thing I've heard about Arcs is that Arcs has a campaign mode, but it's like 3 sessions from my understanding. And I think that's so much cooler. Like I honestly modernly think it's hard to have somebody sit down with the same group of 4 to 5 people like 8 to 10 times. Maybe that's explaining my friend's situation, but you know what I mean? Jeff, how's it going? That's interesting. I found Arcs had way less kingmaking than other designs to the point where I just haven't seen it much. Oh, cool. I wonder if maybe that's a playgroup thing. Like maybe y'all are so evenly matched. I don't know. Oath is awesome in the narrative it makes, but it was awesome at the end, not the rest. But that's what it's awesome at and not the rest. Yeah, we had really, really cool. So last time I played Oath was like with Jeff and some other folks. And we ended up in really ridiculous situations where like I found a whole bunch of like cursed relics, and then I became some sort of like religious zealot while 2 other people were fighting for the crown, and it kept fighting. Somebody gave them permission to join like their council, and then they became basically the bodyguard to the throne, and we were trying to overthrow each of them individually. Like the narratives came up were pretty cool, but on a lot of turns there was like one thing to do that wouldn't end the game on that turn. So it was kind of cool because I made a narrative and the game ended up taking like 5 hours. Like it took way longer than anyone thought it would, but that's because it was a close game. As much as in Oath, there's this mechanic where you roll a die at the end of the turn. If it just rolls a 6 at a certain point, the game just ends. And then I believe the numbers that can end the game increase as time increases. So there's a variable game end. And I think we got to like the last possible day. It's cool. I imagine PAX is meaner than Arcs because PAX also has a very like closed, suffocating economy from what I saw. Hey Ryan, first time I've been able to make a stream. Thanks so much for the deck building series. It's fantastic. Got me back into the game again. Why? Welcome back to the game. There's been a lot of nice people dropping in and we're like talking about coffee and garlic and board games. We'll get to Netrunner in a second. I just need to catch up on chat, but thanks so much for the kind words. Hopefully you're enjoying the game. The only thing I know about Sidereal is a bunch of people at Worlds in Toronto doing everything in their power to get a game going over the weekend. Did they nail it? Did they get it? That's Terrence, yeah. Leader games tend to feel very low in terms of player expression to me, so I generally bounce off of them. I like really enjoyed the idea of playing like the Eerie of Crows. Like that sort of programming game and planning your future was satisfying. The worker like kind of straight boring Euro game of playing the Marquis of Cats, like that was kind of fun. Like I liked them individually. They seemed like cool little games to play, but I don't know. Andre never trashing assets. I'll trash assets. I don't give a shit. In the game last night, I spent 2 rounds as the target of the table's ire, and it was hilarious to me. I don't know, even being attacked continually, it was fun. Okay. Death by toe stubbing is a hell of an alternate win con. Well, it works. One of the interesting things about Arcs is that the cards you are dealt really determine your strategy, so it's not like you have to decide to choose violence. It's not really on you. I wonder if that would be a way to make it easier for me to swallow, to be like, oh, if this was the hand I was dealt. Today is blood. Blood. One of the attacking also feels less bad because you just restart the game. They don't just sit there doing nothing while everyone else continues to play. For one-on-one, yeah. If the game's over, you can just like wipe. But I don't know. What about Netrunner crew deck, stealing corp agendas, or end of line runner? But that's different. Is like, so I feel like Netrunner is really different because compared to most other games, Netrunner feels like you're building like a play space. You're building a little jungle gym together that you get to play on. Where you put the ice, where they destroy the ice, at the end of the day, you still like build the space that you share. Whether they destroy your ice, that's okay. You can destroy their programs. Like there's a bit of that. I feel like ice destruction, or sorry, program destruction to me hits worse than ice destruction because the deck has more ice, but a lot of decks don't have more programs. And if you don't have programs, you can't play the game, specifically icebreakers. So that one falls a bit more into that camp. I don't know. I don't feel too bad about that. I don't love ice destruction. I want to be like, I think Devil Charm is the biggest crew problem, not the other way around. So Keyforge is a bit different since attacking is the control strat, reaping is the aggressive play. Yes, that is true as well. You're right. You're right. It's kind of like Lorcana, I guess. Trying to get my brother and roommate together for Imperial Assault more than twice has proved to be difficult. Sorry, Sock Monkey. The end of the game dice roll for Oath can be prevented, though, so you can even play around that. Are you hyped for Eternal Super League this weekend? Jeff, I am. I have those links up here. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the chat, and then we'll go through the news, because did someone say Eternal Super League? Hey, Declan, I'm trying to get buddies together for Root, but I don't know enough people who are into that kind of thing. Root's kind of neat, because every game is its own little, like, sub game, so you can find someone who likes programming games and they can just enjoy the crows on their own. It's really difficult though, because to play it competently you need to know the strengths and weaknesses of all the other factions that don't have the same rule set as you, which makes it the sort of game that is very hard to see what Root looks like in your first game, and probably not even in your fifth game. My first 3 weekends are played, so now I just get to enjoy the streams. Oh, don't spoil it, Jeff. I was gonna ask you how you're doing. Thoughts on a Catalyst Jachinio deck? Good, strong, potent. Imperial Assault is so good. Hey Ken, IACP has done an awesome job keeping skirmish around. Trashing assets on Axis is cringe. What if trashing everything at once after running all 3 centrals? That is cringe too. You say programs are necessary and yet you haven't watched my Eternal games yet. Oh, Jeff, what are you up to? Do you think you have more issues with games that have king-making potential versus heads-up competition? Jeb, what do you mean by that? What's the difference? I don't like being put in social situations where I, as a player who's not in contention of the win, has to decide who is going to win. I just don't like those sort of social pressures where it feels like at the end of the, I also don't feel like in situations where I'm like the person leading and then multiple people are like ganging up on you. I feel like when you're doing one-on-one head competition, like that is just the known thing. Your opponent is going to try and make you lose. It's fine. All right, we'll get through the news in the order, like this order. This is huge. Community Spotlight. This is written by Warlock for the Eternal Super League. So for those who don't know, the Super League, this is cribbed from an old Magic thing from my understanding. And the Super League was basically this like televised weeks-long event where they brought together a whole bunch of people who played Magic, competitive Magic, and they played this old format. I think it was Vintage back in the day. And it was not a very popular format, but it allowed people this sort of like insight and ability to watch people play with these busted powerful cards back in the day. And then you got to see great play and made it presented in a way that was accessible from my understanding. A bunch of nice folks are putting this back together, or putting something like this together to make the Eternal Super League. So in short, over the next, I believe it's 9 weeks, there is a new channel here you can click through. I would recommend you click through and you can hit subscribe here so you get notifications that every Sunday, it's at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is my time zone. Otherwise, it's at like 9 UTC. They will be streaming a recap of the week's events. This is a really cool format. So in short, we have a whole bunch of competitors, including a bunch of people in chat who are playing Eternal. For those of you who don't know, Eternal is a format where almost every single card in the history of Netrunner is legal. There are still balance systems where there's a point system, so each deck has a budget they can spend, so you can't just cram every single busted card into your deck. You can only choose to cram 7 points worth of busted cards in your decks and then play Sure Gamble, whatever. And so what's going on is these players are playing over the week this asynchronous league, and then every Sunday at 7 o'clock UTC, there's going to be a live stream for about 2 to 3 hours, maybe longer, depending on the games, where commentators are going to go play the replays, which are going to be recorded videos, and basically do commentary on top of games that happened earlier. So the idea is that we get all these great players from different time zones who can regularly compete against each other, and then we're not going to, all those like results are going to be secret, but on Sunday you can see how those games went. And the idea is that we're going to have commentators that are who have played Eternal, who can explain the game and the process and all these things to you. And then there's a competition that every player, I believe, plays every player round robin for, it's I think 9 weeks, and there might be a final based off of that. Folks are allowed to change their decks. I think every 2 or 3 weeks they can change their decks, they can change cards. So if you're stuck in a terrible meta, you can fix it. But this is really, really, really cool. Again, it'll be streamed on the Eternal Super League. This is going to be a rotating cast of people who are streaming and commentating. I'm actually doing some of the streaming and commentating for the Eternal Super League. I believe this Sunday I'm not going to be there. I believe it's going to be streamed by maybe, I would expect Bao, Ram, Wu, and a bunch of other folks. But I'll be doing the stream in 2 weeks from now, and then I'm signed on for a couple Sundays. So this is something that people have been talking about behind the scenes. When you heard people mentioning the weird interactions with the simulator and Earthrise Hotel and all this sort of stuff, that's because a bunch of these people have been like grinding Eternal behind the scenes, and this is the first announcement of it as of, when does this drop? Yesterday, and this is going to be going on for the next 9 or so weeks. So if you want to check out a really wacky format, whether you want to drop by live or ideally the VODs will be saved, it will be streamed entirely here. I have a sneaking suspicion that you might not be able to stream on YouTube until you have about 50 subscribers. So if you want to just take a second and hit the subscribe button just so that this stream can happen. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. I feel like there might be a situation where you can't stream unless you have enough subscribers. But if you want to hop on there and give that a sub, that helps a heck of a lot. But that starts this Sunday and it'll be going on for, I believe, 9 weeks. And there's a bunch of nice folks who are behind the scenes. A lot of effort goes into this when it comes to recording the gameplay, setting up the league, doing all this great stuff. If you want to find out more about Eternal, I'll be able to share the link, but Tron, who's playing, put together this a really good primer thing before the Eternal off meta month tournament in December. So if you're a newer player and you want to understand the format, the job of everybody casting is to make it as approachable as possible. I think Eternal's very weird. It's a very high power level format. Games can be 3 turns, games can be 25 turns. There's like a lot of different weird things you can do. And so if you want to like see what it looks like, come by on a Sunday for sure. Sub, let's get them to 50. Let's go. You can stream on YouTube, but it has a 24-hour cooldown after you click the button for the first time. Okay, so we can do it, but you probably should still hit that button regardless. What's up with the simulator Earthrise? Joe, the short of the long is that if you flip an Earthrise face up, it never gets counters, which means it can never empty. And because of the way that Earthrise is worded, it's not a cost to remove the power counter to draw 2 cards. So there's certain cards that if you flip face up have infinite uses. Cards like Earthrise Hotel, cards like Julie, they can just go forever if you flip them up with the simulator. Similarly, I've heard, and I haven't looked into it, I think you can like have a ever boomerang for some reason that can break every single ice. I guess it's not an ever boomerang. It just can break any single ice because it isn't marked, because you mark when you install it, not when you flip it. No spoilers, but there's some great games in week 1. Is the perfect Super Bowl warm-up show. Oh yeah, I guess it's the Super Bowl. Sick. Yeah. So mind you, Patraig in chat, she sat down with me to talk through all this sort of stuff a week ago. So we'll be helping on the stream. Seems pretty great. Seems pretty damn cool. I thought load empty rules were static abilities. We shared the whole like rules thing on the stream last week. I'm not 100% sure about it, but apparently it doesn't work. Like, sorry, it works. Apparently it works. We've been happily streaming with fewer than 50 subscribers. Everyone should sub to the channel though. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I think you can sub. I don't think you can stream mobily if you have sub 50 maybe. Hey, Recursion Cafe, it's been a while. How you doing? Good to catch you live from the UK. How you been? I dropped into the channel recently. I was trying to look up some of your stuff. Hopefully you're well. I'll have to catch the VOD, but it's amazing to add another day of the week in Netrunner streaming rotation. Yeah, there's a lot of content going on. Speaking of that, mind you, today we have a stream. Tonight, we're going to be playing some Eternal. Tomorrow, Backroom Deals. I'll be joined as a guest. I'll be joining as a guest, I think is this one, on Backroom Deals, which this is John and the producer's relatively new YouTube and Twitch channel that you can find under this name. I'll have the link in the description, but I'll be the guest tomorrow night playing against John in person, which I'm really excited for. So that's tomorrow night. And then of course we'll be back here on Thursday with this bad boy setup. So I'm excited for that for sure. But yeah, that's coming up really soon. Really stoked. Eternal is a format where you almost every card is legal and you go play Andy. Hey, there's Tron. Winemaking is very fun, but only if you're playing with players who can do it right. Players that help their friends or do things at random are not great, but rewarding in-game alliances and betrayals is fun. Win making. Oh, that's a way better gender neutral term for that. I struggled with that one a fair bit. How you doing, Tron? Anyways, that is Sunday. I think I'm going to edit and refresh my dock after the ESL and then run an open tourney. Cool. Super, super, super cool. Eternal is like an intimidating thing for a lot of people, but I promise you, if you can, like, playing Eternal is one thing for sure, but if you can drop by in a stream and like ask questions and see it, like experiencing the history of Netrunner, and mind you, this is a format that like only exists modernly. At some point in time, all these cards were legal, but not a lot of times were they all legal together and or were banned or restricted. So like you get to see really cool old cards and wild interactions, and it's a very, very powerful format. I can see the loading of counters is a triggered ability, so emptying can only happen if anything was loaded. That's the idea, from my understanding. Scorpios is not as good or simple enough to make the cut for the dock, win the league, and then we'll see. Did you get the cam link or just running in the lower res? I'm running in the higher res for now. funny enough, they reached out AverMedia and they're like, we'll schedule a call. And they could schedule a call tonight or tomorrow night, which doesn't work because of the GNK and because of the other stream. So I'm going to meet with them next week. I'm getting lent tonight a cam link 4K really nicely from the producer at Backroom Deals. So I'm going to try that out as well. So not yet, but I have a call with them next week. It's also fun to see new cards make a splash in a non-rotating card pool. Yeah, that's true. That's like, I think one of the first times I saw Eternal in like the all NSG card pool, it was like, we didn't get to see interesting interactions with new and old. It was just like people exploring old cards. And it's like, there must be busted stuff between new and old. And I think we're finally seeing some of that busted stuff, which is great. All right, other stuff going on. They announced this. This was about a week ago, but the tournaments, the accelerated beta test tournaments for February are up. I believe we have an EMEA and APAC time zone, AMTs. One is the Saturday at a time zone. I'm not sure how this translates. And then there's one for APAC. So if you want to get involved in organized play, this stuff is entirely free. It's all on JTicket.net, but they're now doing 2 AMTs a month. They have been for a while. These are just free online tournaments. These are usually streamed as well. I can't confirm that. Sometimes they're not, but they're usually streamed. So if you want to subscribe to the Null Signal Netrunner Twitch channel and just Null Signal Games YouTube channel, you can watch some stuff too, which is great. There's an update too on the EU distribution scene as of January. The EU store is obviously not what anyone wants it to be, and there's a bit of an update here. So if you're from Europe and you have previously ordered stuff or you're looking to order stuff, read this through. Certain things are going to be shipped out. You have to like do something. You have to check the original address and make sure things go through. You must confirm with us. They're not shipping out everything. It's obviously not where people want it to be. Luckily, with the slight delay of elevation, this hopefully will be fixed. I think they probably have to move to a different distribution system, it looks like, and that's just a hard thing to do because you have to sort out the mess of the previous distribution system and then move all that to the new distribution system without leaving anyone in the dust. Again, this has not been great, obviously, but there's more to read about this. So if you're missing on stuff, please, the folks behind the scene are clearly working to get this worked out for you. So check that out. And then this came up just today. This is from Odanuva. This is Nick from my local meta asking for feedback for the 2024 organized play season. I imagine if you click on this button, there will be some sort of form. I don't think it's, how long does it take you to fill this out? They usually should say at the top. It doesn't say. Next. You really ought to say maybe how many pages this is to understand how long it takes. I'm definitely going to fill this off stream for sure. And I would recommend you to fill it out. Even if you participate in GNKs, if you travel for a world, they're very clear. They don't care how much you participated in organized play, but if you participate in organized play at all, maybe even if you watch streams, I don't know, you can give some feedback here for sure. Null Signal Games wants your feedback so they can make things as great as possible for as many people as possible. So your feedback is one of the easiest ways for them to figure that out. 10 to 15 minutes was like 5 pages. Okay, thank you, Cold Lava. So 10 to 15 minutes, 5 minutes top. Okay, please give feedback. I'm definitely going to do this off stream. But yeah, there's always feedback to be given, which is sick. Best to use UK if in EU, customs not bad and ships fast. Umar. Oh, from like Netrunner cards UK or whatever it is. I'm not too familiar with that. Hey, Fixby. Reading the chat, it seems I missed the board game tangent. Arcs, Pax Mirror, Keyforge, Imperial Alt, all great games. I really hope the producer starts playing in tournaments using that as the tag. Such a cool title. It is a cool title. I heard you get 5 Axu points if you fill it out, exchangeable to a monster gift basket. Who gets the monster gift basket? I'm pretty sure it's fed to Axu. Which, like, yeah, I'll give Axu his monster. All right, I think we've caught up. We've been streaming for an hour 15. Let's play some Netrunner finally. All right, I think actually at this point, Bridgman's probably still streaming on a Tuesday. I think Bridgman might be streaming now. We're going to play a Bridgman deck. Bridgman left some really nice comments on the last time. The same thing happened last week. And if you don't know Bridgman, streams on a YouTube channel called Kitchen Meta with Bridgman. Bridgman, specifically Finn, is a very competitive Netrunner player. While he is soft retired, he has been in the world's top 16 5 years in a row. Ending in Barcelona because did not go to San Francisco. That is ridiculous. The player is really, really good, and he often brews his own lists, which are interesting and strange, and this is no different. I've wanted to play this for a while, and it's a Pawnshop deck in Lat. This is standard, mind you, and it solves a bunch of the issues that I was running into with Pawnshop. I recounted this last week. I just want to show you really quickly so we don't go over it too much, but I was playing some Pawnshop Lat, and the issue I ran into is that it just wasn't fast enough. A lot of the same ideas are here. To show you where I really started, we played this on stream many, many moons ago. This is where I really started. No, did I change it? Oh, I edited it. I took out, no, this is where we started, where we had a Pawnshop Lat deck. It was running Prognostic Q Loop for a bit of faster speed. This allows you to set up cards from the top of your deck. We were running Boitata, which I actually think was pretty good because we struggled to deal with some of the early cheap sentries, things like drafter. This is nice. And then we have all the sort of engine pieces you'd expect. The Coalescence, we have Hush, which is nice. I like Copulation a fair bit, as much as we often end up using our Simul chips to bring back our Coalescences and our Muses. Our multi-axis with Nyasha, which probably makes a bit of sense with that Pawnshop engine, but should be a conduit, and that's an easy change. And then eventually I made a bunch of changes and concessions. I ended up not playing the Boitata, and I think that was wrong. We ended up with the conduit. I put in a third overclock because we were using it to SMC out our breakers. But at the end of the day, this deck was really good against a whole bunch of stuff, but then really bad against anything that was relatively quick. You just didn't draw well. Sometimes your deck was just not in a good spot because we had to install a lot of engine pieces in awkward orders, and we just needed to be a bit faster. And so this list solved a lot of the issues in really interesting ways. Firstly, it builds for the late game as well. It has 2 turbine, which is kind of cool. So our breaker suite gets even better. The idea is that we can technically break like a Nancy for 2 credits in theory, as long as everything is set up. That's nice. But Boitata is really, really good when it scales up in strength, because breaking 1 for 2 Sentry subroutines is just kind of sick. So this is an option for the matchups you need it, and the matchups you don't need it, you don't install it, whatever. The other thing is we're again on all the fixie breakers for better or for worse, because we're on turbine. But then the fun things come down. Firstly, we're on 1 self-modifying code instead of 3. That's wild. That means we're just going to get our breakers the old-fashioned way. I don't think we're going to muse out our breakers too often, but we can. And then I think the biggest thing is price, which is just so damn cool. As a way to rip through 4 cards, fill your bin with things that you can get back with Simulchip and Muse. But more importantly, if we see something like a Lily Pad off the top or Aesop's Pawnshop, your deck doesn't do anything until you find these cards. And so having a single click that draws through 4 cards and installs one of them is exactly the speed that I felt I needed against those Ace group decks that were just going way too fast under our nose. And this just seems really nice. There's certain things that I'm not sure about, like 3 lily pad versus 2 lily pad. I asked Finn about this in a YouTube comment. There's a chance if you're playing against like Asmara, you could go play 3 lily pad, because the don't die button is relatively important for the deck. Getting 1 extra hand size can be super impactful. We also have like some tech cards like Stone Chip Chart Room, which I know I wasn't playing. Hannah, because we're going to be running the remote server constantly, and it's a really nice tool. And then we have DJ Fenris, and you have to be pretty flexible with what you want to pull from the Fenris. But this looks very interesting. It's probably pretty reactive. I don't know what to do with 1 single SMC and no overclocks. Maybe that's a bit of my comfort, but I'm very excited to try this out because ripping a price and shaper sounds so fun. Nice to see a runner deck without Banhar. That's most of them for what it's worth. Just not the Anarch ones. The Anarch ones like Banhar. I don't know. I actually think Banhar is way more interesting than like breaking every code gate in the game for 1 to 2 credits, but I don't know. People don't like Banhar. Banhar's cool. 3 price in a deck without Steelskin Strike Fund seems cursed. I don't understand why people, like, why? This card is busted. This card is so damn good. For a single click, you draw 4 cards and install 1 of them for -3. Sure, you trash your cards, but that doesn't matter. There's so few situations where that is a problem for you, let alone it makes you more powerful with things like Simulchip. Like, this just does so much. If Steelskin and Strike Fund weren't in the game, Price would just still be a busted card. Now, you could argue that you can play like Gachapon in this slot, but the thing is, like, Gachapon can't install hardware. It can install resources. Gachapon. Like, this is a similar thing that we saw, especially in some DZ decks, to fire this on your opponent's turn. But like, that is just a really, really good ability. I don't know. It's just like, if this is the sort of card in a deck building game, you'd be like, hell yeah, that's great. Just price your breakers. Honestly, pricing your breakers is fine. You just Simulchip them back. I don't know. It's also really cool. This says trash the top 4. Is Boitata an installed card? Oh, any of your installed cards. Okay, so it doesn't fire the Boitata clause because you trashed one of your non-installed cards. Conduit, but no Aeneas. Yeah, okay. The last thing Axie needs is more monster. We got to use that ice somehow. All right, let's pull this in. Price is so busted, you're making a case for it to be the SPL's crosshairs? I don't know. I was frustrated about this. When Price came out, I know Jeff and I were like, this is the strongest card. And like, I saw no play. It doesn't even consistently see play in Anarch decks, but I don't fully get it. It's just so damn good. Jiteki.net. I played a couple games with this and kept hitting double Stone Chip with Price. It was so annoying. Oh yeah, I wonder if you want to make considerations. Like, the deck is not running that many events. That was a consideration I made in my Lat deck because we were playing Prognostic Q-Loop, which wants you to have enough programs and hardware. I wonder in this deck how often you're going to get a really bad price. My guess is, like, even if that's what you hit, if you're like, that's the thing, is if you price through 2 Stone Chips, you didn't want to draw those usually. So I think that's still kind of a win. Because it is functionally a click to draw 4 and an install -3. That is so much click compression. If the top of your deck was bad, you just now no longer have to draw through the bad part of your deck. I don't know. Big fan. Let's see how this is. I think this is going to be much trickier to play than the version I was piloting. It was the core of Ash and Hosh, I think. Yeah, but a lot of the modern Hosh decks are not even playing it. I'm not sure. Played a couple, excuse me. I've been playing this deck. Feels hard to be fast face check though. Epic and slow matchups though. Yeah, you're really built for the long matchups because you have both Hush and like double Turbine. I think you have to play it really cleanly to be a bit more aggressive. Yo, Diogen, not sure the Boitata saved credits. I feel like After Image might have been better, but After Image you need stealth, and we don't have stealth. Boitata is really good. This is what Finn was saying specifically, is that like in his setup where you get Echelon down, you still end up paying a lot of money to break things, right? It depends what it is, but like, okay, you're gonna have some issues with Archer, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, once you install your Turbine and your Breaker, you expect to break ice for 1 to 2 credits, which you do with Cleaver and Buzzsaw, but you don't do that with Echelon all the time. And so with Boitata, you actually end up saving a fair bit. Thanks, you too. Yeah, and with the Boitata trigger with Aesops, you can get it all the time. Whether it's like because of Aesops, whether you simulchip something, whether there's a lot of ways to get it to do its thing. I think you also trash Corp cards, right? All right, Wayland, BTL, no idea what this could be. This could also be a Finn's list that does some, remote server rush. Our early hand, we have Sure Gamble Creative, which is fine. Conduit and Turbine, we don't really want in our opening hand. So I'm going to mulligan for a Pawnshop. I'm going to mulligan for a Lily Pad. I really want the Lily Pad early on the basis that we are the deck that wants to install. With K2CP X2, it becomes like a Buzzsaw and breaks everything for 1 to 2 credits. Boitata does, yeah. It's really good. Yeah, I'm guessing this is Bridgman versus Bridgman. That's my guess. I'll have to dip a good luck and have fun. Manuel, thank you. All right, I don't know what this could be. It's probably a Spin Doctor. I don't know our opponent that well, so I think I'm going to just do a respect check. They kept it. We want to chase on the Spin Doctor before because of Lat anyways. So we can run this. We can set up our Stone Ships. Not a great hand. But we're assuming this is a Spin Doctor. We want to get this popped or rezzed so that we can... Oh, it's a Table Snare. Okay. Cool. So they're bankrupt. We lost 2 Stone Ships and a Boitata. That's fine. We didn't lose our Pawn Shop. Yeah, God, I think that was worse for the corporation than for us. Like, they can't really afford that. So we're just going to draw a bit. Okay, we found a 1 SMC, which is good. And I think we'll just remove the tag. Oh, we should have... I'm a monkey. I should have not drawn. I forgot we're playing Lat. Remove the tag and click for a credit. And we would basically get a free credit here. We could have been on 4 credits. That's on me. Oh, shit. Okay. They just trashed an ice for some money. They're on 3 cards in hand. I feel like they probably are trying to hurt us. So I don't know if we want to face check into here. The SDSs are safe. They bounce back relatively well here. So we can install environmental, that we install SMC and click for a credit. It bottoms our money up pretty badly. How quickly are we going to get out of environmental? I was running daily cast instead of environmental. Environmental is really nice if it fires in like 2 turns as opposed to daily cast, which takes a bit longer. But it also gives you something to pawn. I feel like I don't think they're going to do anything too quickly, so we're just going to do this. That's an expensive draw. Extract and BTL, yeah. Sometimes, like, if you're running advanceable traps and they don't run it, I can see an extract doing something. Like, a 6 credit econ card is good, but I'm assuming they're on punitive. All right, they have 1 card in hand. It could be an agenda. They've drawn through a lot. It could also be a snare. I'm down to find out. I didn't mean to draw there. I meant to run. Like, we don't have to worry about punitive if they have a single card. Solom, how's it going? It's an ice wall. Okay, that's good to know. So they're down on little carts. So we can like install this propeller. I don't know if we want to show them it. If they have anything they top deck, they just push straight into remote server. So we're slightly behind here. We have to draw a bit deeper, I think. Okay, that's next turn. We've mismanaged our economy pretty poorly, I think. With Muse SMC and Simulchip, you can trigger NV testing in 2 clicks. Galehar, how's it going? Yes, we definitely can. Unfortunately, with this hand, we can't. Click for credit, install DZ. I don't love value DZ. Maybe it was better there. So this could be the ice wall. This is maybe Rashida. If they score an above the law, we really need to crack this. Oh, this is ugly. Yeah, we need to get, well, we don't need to get Aesops ASAP because we actually can't sell anything. So here we probably just have to hit like a conduit. On 3 less, there's only 1 card we can't install. So if we hit a Coalescence here, that's the best case. Muse, DJ Fenris, we lost Creative Commission and another price. No, Muse, Turbine. Okay, we can't install a Turbine. Okay. So if we go for the DJ Fenris, we have some HQ pressure. If we go for Muse, we can't install anything with it. We have mismanaged our economy so embarrassingly. I think honestly in this matchup, we'll go for a Quetzal. I honestly think we'll go for a Quetzal this early. They haven't res dice, so Los does something. Like we could face check. I would say it's Los or Quetzal. We know they have an ice wall. We need money. We could check this. The problem is we have no credit, so we can't trash. Missing the extra credit on turn 1 kind of mattered a lot. Oh yeah, it's really, really, really bad. It's really, really bad. We've done bad so far. I'm not gonna pretend we're doing well. So if we Muse into a Coalescence, we pay 4 to gain 4, but then we can pawn it. This is so cooked. Yeah, having an extra credit is gonna be big. If they above the law environmental testing, we're in a really bad spot. If it's an Eminent, a ZF, okay, we lost a DZ and a Lily Pad, but they trashed R&D. Huh. Should throw a program, surely? It's a bit tricky. We haven't seen a Simul chip yet. I think I underestimate how good environmental testing is, but so far our start has been very, very bad. All right, they have 2 cards in hand. That's going to be hard to deal with. We can maybe take a turn off and just install Pawnshop, click 3. That's bad. Okay, that's good. So we only have 1 more Lily Pad in the deck. If we install this, we're up 4, and then we can install the Pawnshop. We're technically able to contest the remote server next turn, because we functionally have a lot more credits on the SMC, so I think we can just do this. Cool. We'll claw back, I think. I don't know what their game plan is. We just want to access with enough cards that we don't get snared. I think the line on price was install Muse, trashing SMC, install SMC on Muse, pop Envy testing. Maybe. It's super aggressive. I'm not sure if we had to. I feel like that's a rough use. Okay, we have 6 credits. As soon as we crack the SMC, we can install any program in our deck to get through the first ice. So I think we should just challenge this. We also get Los money. And I think we wanted to maybe get Los every turn. They double iced HQ. I'm not sure why. Boarding control outermost. Okay. I want to deny credits because if they res another ice here, they're in a bad spot. We also have Hush in our deck, which we can respond to. We should be asking for priorities. It's an enigma. Could be After our Winchester. I don't mind either of those. So we'll get our Buzzsaw down for making money. Table Snare, they can't afford it anymore. And this is now a pretty rough server for them. Okay. So we're not worried about punitive here. We've done most of what we want to do. The server costs us 2 credits to run functionally, so we should just continue to set up. The other options like Conduit, run R&D, but we've already done what we wanted to do. We can install Coalescence here to get a Pawnshop trigger next turn. I think that's fine. It's a bummer that we don't have our Lily. Oh, I should have drawn first, excuse me. I hate putting this down. We definitely should have got this down. Okay, hold on. We got to untilt. We should have drawn before we installed the Coalescence. Of course we should have. Credit in their moat. Okay, so if it's a snare, we don't mind losing this hand. We'll just continue doing our thing. So we run this for 2. If it's a snare, they spend most of their money. I don't think we care. Yeah, DZ would have actually been fun. We have a lot of installables. I don't want to give them money. Even a turbine here to keep our propeller credits is worth something. This is our last turbine. It might be worth installing. I just don't know what this could possibly be in their remote server. Spin, maybe? Angelique, okay. They paid 2 for that. We lost our turbine and our conduit. Those were pretty good hits. They had to pay for that, right? Yeah, they did. Okay. So the Campfire Snare. If we run R&D on 3 credits, there's no ice destruction, so we can go for a single. If they res, we make money. Yeah, it's tempo damage. We only have 22 cards left. But I don't know if they're on 5/3s or not. Like, what happens if we hit an SDS? We'd give the propeller, I think. No res, no Los. Hostile. Okay, I'm glad that we stole that. That would be a really good top deck for them. Angelique. I honestly want them to draw that. All right, Lilypad's good draw. It's supposed to be a built to blast variant. Yeah, it looks like it. So they have an Angie in hand. So their hand is Angie. We don't have to run that. They're on 6 credits, so it looks like they want to res this. We have to watch out for Archer to some extent. I don't think we have to do anything this turn, so I think we're just going to set up. Okay, that's good. That's good. So we can do simulchip creative. The problem is like simulchip, it doesn't do too much, but it means that we can panic into a Boitata if we want to. But we have to be a bit respectful because I'm pretty sure they're on Archer. So unfortunately, okay, so we know that's not. Okay, so that is going to be 2 damage at a minimum. So this is advanced. The most we can take here is 5 damage, right? If it's an Urtica into an Angelique. 5 damage. So we can just do draw, run. We can install Hannah. I don't think we need to. You'll do install anything but install in DZ? Yeah, but we need cards in hand. Like, we're not installing anything this turn. Like, you're not wrong, but also we don't need it. Okay, NGO front. To Angie. Tempo damage. Okay, so we lost the Pawnshop and the lily pad. Okay, we have no more lily pads. That's fine. We're going to have an MU issue at some point. We haven't got Los yet. Can we click break all? I try not to. All right, this is important because we can install this to go get our coalescence at a minimum, which is like plus 6 credits. All right, so they don't have a remote server, so running HQ makes a bit of sense here, but we have to be a bit careful because we don't have a way to break sentries. Winchester on HQ is super likely. So without having a lily pad here, which is a bit sloppy, our engine is a fair bit more muted. Do you want me to install the D set? I'll do it for you. I'll do it for chat. We'll draw once. Okay, that's good. So we'll go from our heap to get a coalescence, and we'll just draw. I'll take this money. Lat draw. Okay. Parisha will sell. Okay, so assuming Rashida or Spin Doctor. We definitely need the DZ. Yeah, we need it for the MU more than anything. So Simulchip is online. We can do Sure Gamble run this remote server, I'm pretty sure. I don't feel like we need Hannah into a boarding control. It's a hammer. Okay. So Boitata is a bit difficult. So install. This is expensive for them. Chip first. We already have one. We're not going to need 2 chips. So I think we have to Simulchip in response for the SMC for the Echelon. That's probably really expensive. Oh no, sorry. We have the thing. We have the Boitata. We don't need to do that. I forgot we lost it in our opening hand. So Boitata's coming in. Breaks for 4. Like breaking a hammer for 4 is fine. Could you have double chip for Boitata and Turbine? It doesn't really save us that much. We're going to be able to chip next turn with the Muse, so I feel like we're okay. We don't have to. Still can. This turn we can, but we've already used DZ on this turn, so I don't think we have a huge incentive to. If they pop the boarding control, we can consider it, but we actually have to like flicker the propeller or go for a cleaver. Atlas, okay, that's good. So they're keeping the remote server, so we know nothing about HQ. They have 2 cards in hand, so like the safe thing to do to some extent is safe is like install Simulchip Parisha. We died a double punitive. So I don't think we do much here. Because we're going to be able to Simulchip next turn. We've got our Los. Like, I think we just want to play safe that we don't die to like somehow double punitive. So I'm just going to install this. We have something to pawn next turn. I think we just click for a credit. Public Trail and the line. Oh yeah, that's much more likely actually. Then I'll draw to 4 cards in hand. So that order there should have been backwards. Good that we got our cleaver. But yeah, Public Trail and the line is worth playing around. Install advance. Okay. So here we can install our cleaver, run Simulchip for the thing. Looks like an NG on a spin. Yeah, I'm not sure that we have to run this. It's not that cheap to find out, actually. It's 1, 2. And this thing is going to be... Like, Turbine actually doesn't help the Boitata here. Like, this is always 4. Yeah, I don't think we run this. I think we can just win off of R&D. We can pull a conduit here. We'll run server 3 first. In theory, we can Hannah here. feel so bad playing for the Hannah. I'm really bad on these tempo negative cards, tempo neutral cards. So even this is a spin doctor, it's not unsuccessful. It's a spin doctor good, so we chased that out. No Hannah? I think the Hannah's going to pay for itself at a minimum. But now we can see R&D, and we wanted to do that before they shuffled. So Snare and Hedge Fund went back. Again, if they fire Snare, we're relatively happy. It's not a card for this matchup. No, for the boarding control remote server, you're right. It's not often correct. This gives us panic, though, if we hit a Snare, which seems to be part of their game plan. So I don't think it's terrible. So either we install the cleaver or we just run R&D. If they run a barrier on R&D, I don't think we're too upset. So we're just going to run it. I don't think we need a conduit. Yeah, for the conduit turn, it's really good. Oh, that's a lot of money for them. So this has to be an NGO. Do we have to break all of this? Give the runner tag. We don't want it. Install a hardware. Don't want that. Destroy it. Not. Oh, we can save a credit. We should have saved a credit last time. Oh, no, that's not true because we didn't have the muse. Right, breaking this for 3 is good. Nailed it. All right, they can't fire it. Sick. So they're in 3 cards. We're pretty sure it's an NGO front. We should pawn something. So I think we just draw install Parisha. We could also use our Simul chip to get back our muse. We might draw a muse here. Oh, that's really good too. I think we just install the Parisha, eating our DZ trigger, and then having a thing to pawn next turn. This can't draw a card, right? So using your like limited resources, I'm pretty sure we pull a conduit and just send it. If this was a Snare, they could have popped the NGO front, but they didn't. Don't think you need the Parisha? No, but it's a click for 3 credits because of the pawn shop, and it turns on Boitada. This has to be an agenda if they don't. They didn't advance this. This has to be an agenda, right? Huh? Wait, what is this now? If it was an NGO, they would advance it. But it's not. They put something here. I'm not sure if it's a Chrysium. Yeah, I think this is an agenda. It could be 3 damage. So we can do like gamble Hannah the remote server if they border control us. So what? This is the 3rd Anji. It could be, but they can't advance this. This like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't think we run it. If they score out a off-world office, it doesn't have a huge impact on the game. I think we just get the conduit down. They still can't fire Snare. I'm just not sure whether we should be simul chipping for Muse Coalescence or just ending the game. The problem is as soon as we get the conduit down, the Boitada is 1 more credit to break. Hey, Spark, if you run it thinking it's an NGO because they didn't advance it, it's not a misplay. Thinking it's not an NGO, rather. Yeah, it's probably the right play to run it. Enigma, okay, that's not a good draw for them. So we can just hand it the remote server. This is 3, 4, 5. I feel like that's totally fine. If we end up taking a tag, we just clear with Hannah. We even could like run HQ to find out what this is. Yeah, I'll bite. I don't know what this is. I don't think we die with 3 cards in hand. I think the most this can be is 3 damage. Hammer's good. It's good ice. Again, if they end the run, we end up with a tag with Hannah, but I don't think we... Oh, wait, we don't have a Fractor. Oops. That's on me. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, I goofed this. Oh, so we can't trash the propeller. So we have to do this. Redo. No, I can make it work. We have to do something ugly. No, it's okay. I can work with this. You have to get the turbine? No, we don't have to get the turbine. We have to get the Muse trashing the propeller. Like, it sucks, but this is what we have to do unless we want to take like a pretty horrendous take back. So we have to do the Muse, trashing the propeller, and then we go from our heap for the propeller. It makes every hammer break more expensive. It's like really, really bad. But this is the only way that we save face. Oh, you're right. Oh, you're totally right. We can just get a turbine. Okay, never mind. Everyone's more clever. Everyone's way more clever. Turbine works. I totally forget. I always think propeller uses counters, not strength. It's because I'm so used to lady. Yeah, it's the opposite, Audrey. The other one I get wrong for no reason. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Propellers for strength. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get a turbine. Comes in for free because of the DZ. Look, my way was way more shaper bullshit. It's the opposite of Revolver. It's the more confusing one. Revolver makes sense. Bullets for subroutines. Like, that lines up. I don't want to give them credits. We haven't done the math whether we can run this back. I'm assuming we can. It's 5 to run back. They pop the border control here where, like, we know that this is the win. Yeah, I was counting border control as a 1 credit break because I thought a cleaver would come down. Okay, so clearly they want us to keep us out of the remote server. So we're just going to do that and then just run back. We can do credit run back. We can also install a simul chip flickering, but then we die to Urtica. This is like such a cool Urtica play. So this is boost 2, 3. We can trash our turbine. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that seems good enough. I don't think we care to have credits to access it. We're not trashing a clearinghouse. Yeah, it has to be an agenda if that's their play. We lose the NAPD contract circa 2016. Yeah, okay. They just overextended. A good game. They were just pushing a remote server. Unfortunately, if we have money and we don't mess up a recursion, we're in a good spot. Thanks for the game. Because it seemed like it was just snare and money. I imagine they do have like public trail to end the line. But they didn't have a lot of cards in hand if they're playing around lat, which makes it really hard for us to have to respect that. Because they have to like perfectly top deck everything. But I'm pretty convinced they had some sort of alternate kill combo if they're both playing snare and Angelique. I just want to be very clear. I think the snares were worse for them than us. I think this is something that shows up a heck of a lot. People love snare, but firing a snare on turn 1, putting yourself down to 1 credit is like kind of the worst thing you can do to yourself as a corporation. Now they had extract, so like they did bounce back. Heaven forbid that they didn't. Maybe they wouldn't make that line. But like snaring, the corp snared themselves more than the corp snared us. Hey Harp, Bridgman's Lat. This looks so fun. I'm like struggling with it because I'm making like bad plays, but we have to get the rust out. It seems really cool. Table snare turn 1 is sending a message. You know what sends a message? Send a message on the table, Resident Archer. A player was playing around lat that game and it wasn't us. It definitely was not us. Our early game was dismal. It was really, really embarrassing. We did not play around lat at all. And it like slowed us down 2 or 3 turns. All right, world champ fight. It's Alex, 49 cards. We got a Muse, we got a Coalescence, we got a Price, a DZ. I honestly kind of like this hand. The Muse means that we can like do an aggressive check. We also have access to Hush, which is kind of important in this matchup. I don't know what op this is. Let's look at the Decklist of the Week op. Alex usually plays Decklist of the Week. So the Decklist of the Week op is Asset-y op. This is Amarims, I'm imagining. Yeah, it's Amarims. So 2 archers, hard for us to deal with. Trank, Holloman, Chrysium, Audacity, Extract, Sphere the Gore. We have to trash Maryland Rashida's. Okay. Let's see if we ice up that Maryland or not. This hand is sick. Yeah, this hand is playable. I think best case is the Price hits like our console. That would be sick. But like this hand will make me play DZ click 1. Price the Aesop, simple as. The order that you play this hand is also fascinating. Alex kept shit. Best of luck, have fun. This time start with the DZ. I mean, probably. All right, so let's talk about this. What can this remote server be? Rashida. Worst case, Eminent, also quite bad. I'm assuming this is this deck, and this does have 3 Eminent. Of course it does. So if you want to challenge a remote server, you need to break a barrier, and you need to have a Hush. Usually. So if that's the case, we can just run it. We don't want to hand run it because we'll end up tagged, which probably doesn't matter in the matchup, but we also don't like to be tagged. So what do we do here? We can just click 1 run, see what happens. Alex has the hedge fund, so no res should be that difficult. I think that's fine. Yeah, maybe it's not worth contesting because then they res ice and then we have extract. We don't have pinhole, so maybe we should just ignore this and set up. I'm pretty sure if we price, we don't do DZ first. This is the issue, is like Price and DZ are competing triggers because there's a big chance we hit a program with Price, which is free. So we could do like DZ into Coalescence. Doesn't seem great. I think I played this on the weekend and I don't actually really know if there's any specials because I was playing Blue. I'm just gonna rip it. Stone Chip. We lost to Diesel, DZ, Simul Chip. Okay, so DZ is technically the most value-pilled option here. Stone Chip is just tempo, and we need tempo in this hand. We have no card draw. Simul Chip is one of our most powerful cards, though. So I think we go for the Simul Chip here. I think we do DZ, Coalescence, Draw. So we'll do that in the other order. Yeah, interesting choices. I think we get the simul chip because it's our most flexible card. And then we want to do DZ into Coalescence. We have no real incentive to get the Muse here, which means that ends us on 2 cards in hand, so we should draw next. You can double DZ, I know. I don't feel like that's that great. I think simul chip actually goes pretty far against op. If it was not op, maybe we'd consider it. Okay, that's fine. So I'll get DZ down on turn 1 for those who love that sort of interaction. Draw. You check, so there's no spin doctor. It's a wall-to-wall, so we get our draw. Okay, so this means it's assets. So I think it's likely this, which has 1 wall-to-wall, so maybe not, but it's clearly an assets op. Did you really lose a diesel if you get access to 3 other cards price? We got a free diesel, then install the card -3. Now, the card that's advanced doesn't have to be an advanceable card. This can be anything, because wall-to-wall just places advancements, and we're on 4 cards in hand, so I think we're allowed here just to continue to set up. We're going to contest in like 2 turns, but the wall-to-wall, like, you don't often want to put other cards on the table because of the interaction. So how do we set up here? We drew our Hush, which is kind of nice. So we just keep drawing for our pieces. Whatever. Oof. So we can do Stone Chip, and then we can install Muse, but I don't love installing Muse for no reason. It's a 1 credit install to go get a Coalescence out of our deck. I feel like that's kind of shit. I wonder if we just grab Muse and install a Propeller. That's probably better. It's a 2-cost Propeller from our deck, but then we show that we have it. I don't know if there's anything better to do, but I think Propeller is just all we want. I just unfortunately shows our hand, and I hate showing the opponent our hand. Whatever. It's a 1 credit install you sell for later? Yeah, but it's going to be a fair bit later. Like, we could go for the Coalescence here, but we have no way of dealing with the barrier early, so I think we will go for the Propeller, and then we'll just install the Stone Chip, and then get our free card draw. I don't love this. Oh, great, we drew a Cleaver. Like, we still have an econ issue. The Propeller is a bit better, mind you. It does deal with, like, Sandstone more aggressively. And it's cheaper to get down, so I don't mind the Cleaver. I just rather draw, obviously, like a Pawnshop here. All right, running HQ starts to make some amount of sense. Winchester on HQ is pretty rough for us, so I think with 5 cards in hand, we just do our thing. I'm going to pop the Stone Chip here. I think we just need to draw deeper. I feel like sometimes, oh, that's great. Sometimes it might be wrong to do that on the basis that, like, what do we do with the rest of our clicks? But I think we install Pawnshop, we install Parisha, we just click for credits. Seems like a slow start for op. He's gone through 10 cards though, so there's definitely something on HQ. And now we're off. Second simul chip, DZ. We should be good. I do not think that this is a good draw for a corporation so far, unless this is a Glacier op, which I think Emerums is a bit of a slower op. This actually might be a bit more on the Glacier side. I wanted to shout out, there was an interview. Yeah, this is Glacier op. There was an interview on Team KF Netrunner with Not Yeti and our Circuit Breaker with Kikai. It's pretty good. Check it out. All right, so this is the case. We just want to transition to double conduit. Sorry, double turbine. 5 cards in hand. We have Hush. Was this advanced? This was actually advanced. This is Glacier op. This is a Mestney? What are you advancing on HQ? What the heck? What is this? Huh? We're actually advancing ice. Okay. Just continue to set up, I guess. I think we can install the Buzzsaw for 3, no problem. The problem is, what are we doing for our last click? I don't think we care. We're just grinding value. Okay, that's 1 turbine. We're going to want a lily pad because we're going to need more MU quickly. Especially because our fractor currently takes up 2 MU. Yeah, we don't need the chip now. And then we want to use the DZ value. So I'm going to get the Buzzsaw down. We've gone through 25 cards, so I don't think it's a huge tell. Let's see if we get a Spin Doctor here to solve the hand, or whether we get a Rashida for the remote. That's cool too. I'm scared of face checking into a Winchester or a Stavka. All right, so we could sell the Parisha, which makes a fair bit of sense. Parisha's not bad into this matchup if they start putting assets on the table. The issue is we don't have our boy Tata yet. So gunning HQ here, there must be agendas in there. A Duduwa, it could be an Aduduwa. If that's the case, we can just Hush, which is like not too bad. I think a Aduduwa, like Konjin, that sort of, I'm going to say garbage, not not neutral, might make sense. Okay, this eats up the rest of our MU. It means that we can get our boy Tata. That's good. We can do a turbine for 3, but then we have an MU issue. So we can draw up to 8 and then double install. It's not fantastic. We could contest, but like Stavka is just so bad for us unless we have an SMC access. And then even then it's pretty expensive. So I think we just want to continue setting up. This Muse propeller is like really, really, really bad for us. We drew our Pawnshop. We'd much rather have that to be a 6 credit cell. Like this is really, really ugly. Hannah's not worth that much. We could simulchip this turn in response to go grab at least a Coalescence, which might be okay. It eats the DZ trigger, but we don't have anything to pawn next turn unless we pawn the SMC. Yeah, we might want to do that. Do we not want to start checking some ice? I think Stavka is such a big blowout, and we don't have a huge incentive to run. The sooner that we run. Probably sell the propeller. Yeah, we might. And just get Cleaver Turbine. I think that's probably the flexibility we need with this rig. So I think that's the case. We do like draw, install 2 cards. Oh no, yeah. We can throw at Hannah. I think we can do draw, install 2. Oh, that's a good one to get down sooner than later. I'm glad we planned the turn. So if we want to get our turbine down now because of DZ, that makes sense. So we can discard our Hannah. Good. Stavka can't stop right now because the killer isn't installed. Wait, what? I don't want to lose our board. Play turbine, simulchip coal. I'm going to try and keep the simulchip because Hush is really important. And I want a simulchip for coalescences. It might be correct, but I do think we just trash a propeller here. I don't know if we have to run unadvanced cards. Yeah, I think we pawn the propeller and then install the cleaver and just like basically say you had the first 6 turns and all you did is put ice on the table. Maybe we can win. Losing the Hannah into that feels bad. That's going to be like a Svi. And we threw out the Hannah and we trash the Parisha. Again, there's real advanceable ice on the table. This could be a spin doctor for an agenda there. So if there's an eminent, we have to charge it. So let's figure out what we're doing here. If we sell the propeller, that unlocks some MU. So we can install simulchip. We can install cleaver. And then we can just run. Yeah, that seems good. Charge here first. Yeah, spin doctor, shuffle face down. And then we can run this hoping to chase on an eminent. It's last click, which is really risky because border control is a pretty rough thing. We can simulchip a breaker on top of the Muse to go get Hush. It's just kind of really ugly. Would be a great time for a reboot. It's a great time to spend 5 influence, that's for sure. I don't love last click check on this remote. We also have 6 credits, but it'll be environmental. It's really ugly for us to get this Hush out of our hand. We either wanted to get into our heap to be able to simulchip it or have it still in our stack. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, I didn't even hit the Hush. Okay, so this is a kill combo deck? Okay, interesting. Wait, how are we going to get a killer? What was the plan to get our killer? An enemy's lat tech? The spin doctor already did the work. But this means that they can AZF. They can do 3 damage. We actually flatline here. We have to stop running. Because in theory, you can score an Aziev. And then with Aziev, trash, I think a 3-coster to get a Vera. We probably do flatline to this. What's Vera cost? I think she's 3. Vera's 3. So you can score out this and then trash a 4-coster to get Vera, and this will do 3 damage. Yeah. So as long as we don't run, that's better. Now we have to deal with this an enemy, otherwise we just die to Aziev, which is not great. So we're going to have to like simulchip back a way to deal with the enemy. Oof. So we have to go for the SMC, which is still in our hand? Wait, what the heck? Yeah, but they don't have a click for Sturgotic. It doesn't actually do anything on that combo. I think we just lose to Aziev. We lost a 3 damaged face check. This is why you play Sisenton and everything. Wait, we have no way of dealing with this. Chip something that overinstalled Muse? Yeah, we have to double chip. I hate this so much. I mean, we're going to just flatline with all this money. And now we can get the Muse back. Unfortunately, we have to trash this. Oh no, we can trash the Muse. Oh no, the card's hosted on Muse. So we can't. Ugh. But hey, we break it for a credit. So that's good. I can't believe, well, hold on. We might jack out here. I think it's safer to jack out. We died as Yef. If that's a snare, we die. If it's another enemy, it's a problem. Op hasn't fired yet. I think we just have to respect that. Unless we flatline, Alex still has a lot of work to do. That was brutal. That was really, really, really bad. We've been mismanaging things pretty consistently. Uh-oh. Yeah, we 100% die if we continue. I think it's not going to be in our favor. Muse for the SMC from hand, and then crack it for the Boitada. That'll be even more MU though, because that's 3 MU to Muse SMC, and we don't have our lily pad. It's very, very hard. Biovault or SDS? No, it's probably a Zef. There's a chance that that's a Zato as well. My guess is that this upgrade is a Zato to do 1 more enemy damage on a following run. But like this is probably going to be, I don't know, the one that trashes cards. I mean, oh, this is so bad. I don't think I jack out there. I think we do. I think it's very likely we die to something. If a 4-coster gets rezzed and it's Azyef, we flatline. People, how's it going? Like, even if it's a Mavirus, that's a problem, right? Like, we have a lot of issues. If it's a Mavirus, we flatline to Azyef from hand. And I think Mavirus is obviously as likely as it usually is. We should run HQ here. I hate our MU. Give me a lily pad. Just gonna take it. Okay. You're playing around too many possibilities. Yeah, I just don't want to flatline on 0-0. Okay, we lost our Boitada, but we just filled up our MU. We have 1 more simul chip, I think. 1 more simul chip, 2 more Muse. Some stars do need a line for you to die. Yeah, but it's been like so many turns that this is the first agenda push. I would just say that if Alex has a lethal combo, Alex has a lethal combo. Okay, now we should run HQ. We don't have a sentry breaker anymore. So what do we do? Like SMC? Environmental testing, SMC, SMC for Muse, Muse for thing, go HQ? I mean, I hate it. This was double advanced? I don't care. Smash the price button. I want to be a bit careful. Finding a lily pad would be nice. It's just an ice wall. Oh, sick. I'm pretty sure this is a Zato. I think we're not supposed to do anything. I think we can touch though. We've drawn through like 20 cards. Descent. Okay, the server was not as good as it looked. Punitive. Okay. So I think we learned a lot on that run. And I think we just draw here. That's an upgrade. We don't have to ask. Good luck on the stream. Your channel has been a goldmine ever since I started having interest in the game. Can't wait to start playing the game. Hey, Nathaniel. Thank you so much for the kind words. We'll be back doing some paper play in the near future, so hopefully that's exciting. Like Vera's 4 influence card is likely to have that in the deck. I don't know. I've played that list before where it's Azyef, an enemy, Vera kill. Okay, so Punitive is here. Running HQ is cheap. We can probably do like a Fenris play here. Just to be running HQ and get 2 simul trips back. That seems really good. We probably should get the environmental testing down to 3 counters. If we hit a 5-3 here, it gets a bit dicey. DJ Stiff for simul should be 100%. We might draw the last click instead of installing it. Regulus going to get a 1-coster. Oh, I didn't even break that. You just wait for your opponent to let you through. The 2 simul chips is obviously pretty good. I think we'll do it. Okay, no surprise. We can get a Los card draw if we just click for a credit, or we can create a commission. Feel like that's always like a tough thing to do. I think we just creative commission. I feel like having more money now is important. Credit for lat draw. I mean, like, I don't know what the cards on our deck do. Needs cards more than money? I don't think we need more cards more than money. I think we just need money. I mean, that was okay. Gotta go get ready to stream. Have a good rest of your stream. Bye, chat. Hey, Kato, thanks for dropping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, Descent is gone. There has to be agendas in hand, but this deck might be only on 5-3s. We'll see if there's a 2-1. Descent is getting expended. So SDS and Basalt Spire are from HQ, so we're missed agendas. Do we have a Muse Cole for SMC? Yeah, we could just grab it right now. It might be correct, especially with HQ being relatively open. But I want to do that on our turn so the simul chip is easy. Oh no, it won't matter. I'm just going to do that here to fire the DZ. So we'll go for a Muse from our deck. This might not be credit positive, and we'll go from our heap for a Coalescence. Then our start of turn, there's a window here to take the Coalescence. We have an MU issue, but we'll fix that in a second. We'll pawn that. So now we can do Lily Pad, simul chip, run HQ. There might still be agendas in there. Is SMC sellable? We might as well pop it on the turn for the DZ and the environmental testing, I think. So this gives us 9. This gives us access to a Sentry Breaker. This runs not too late in the turn. The Regolith wasn't popped. We know 6 point went back into R&D. We just want to make sure we don't run into this last click. Also, we have to watch out that border control can grab an enemy at instant speed. We can hush that later, but if we ever run too late in the click, we can just take 2 damage from an enemy at instant speed. And that can set up an Ozzy kill. I wonder if you crack it here to stop the Steve. Apparently we're in. So we got some options here. We have double stone chip is probably like the safest thing we can do. We're going to sell enough programs we can do ENV testing. Sure Gamble's also fine, but like double stone chip against a deck that wants to kill us is probably the play. And just say like, you have no outs. Okay. This Regolith takes a card out of hand. I think I'm okay with that. He does need money, but with the stone chips, we're in a pretty good spot. So I think we can just install the stone chip. We don't need a simul chip this turn. We lost a conduit, right? Yeah, so I think we're going to simul chip for a conduit sooner than later, but actually we need to get our killer down. This was just the don't die button. We didn't draw with Lily Pad. We missed a bunch of our once per turn triggers. At least we got DJ Steve. Spin. Regolith went. Gonna get a 1-coster. It's gonna get a res to wall, that's fine. Surprised they show so many 3-pointers. They have a punitive threat. Yeah, but we saw the punitive. All right, so this is probably a spin. There's a chance that he tries to feed us an agenda or a snare. If that's the case, I think we're well situated to deal with it. Okay, second spin. So wall to wall on the remote server. So here we can run HQ. I think we're fine. 14 to 18 credits, let alone stone chip, and we can hit Lat on 5. Admittedly, it'll go down to 4 if we steal an agenda, but we just want to run HQ here to hit Steve. 2 unseens are in R&D. So there might be all the 3-pointers here. So this is just like a low value run. We just want to make sure we don't do a last click so we don't get border controlled into an enemy into some ugly line. And I think the stone chip helps a lot. So here we'll probably just get some econ card. Seems like the game is over now. Yeah, we just have to like not misplay into some sort of trap. Afshar, that's pretty good. We can hush the Afshar. Clearly the run wants to keep us out. So now this costs us 4 credits to run. I think we get back a 4 credit econ card. So that seems okay. I think there's agendas in here. We can always like hush the Afshar and it saves us a couple credits. We've seen 1 extract so far. Me programs for simul chip? Yes, this turn we can do it. We might actually just do it this turn to draw a card, actually. We should have done it sooner in the turn. Let's see what we hit. 2 cards. I think we're just going to do gamble. They're on 5, we're on 4. So if we steal an agenda, they go to 4. So we can sure gamble, eyes click. Sort. I think gamble is fine. Punitive. Spin in there for a minute. Grab cold to keep Lat draw seems good. Yeah, but we can't force it. There's only 1 Coalescence. I think having access to it for simul chip actually is worth something because it's a panic draw. We can install anything, obviously. So I don't think we play the sure gamble here. I think we still just click for a credit because of Lat. We're just never going to play our econ cards because of Lat. Grab boy. We can't grab boy. We could grab boy like right now, which is probably worth something. And then we'll only have 1 simul chip in the bin. The question is whether we want to wait for the next environmental testing. I think we should be running R&D. I'll grab the Boitata. Maybe we get something to pawn. Okay, ugly. Yeah, you're right. Now we can gamble. That's actually 6. So if that's the case, we'll creative. Okay. Looks like the rest of our deck is mostly money. Raymond, how's it going? Grab Muse? Yeah, we could grab Muse. The problem is like it clogs up our MU to some extent, and we need to get our Boitata down to face check R&D because of the sentry issue, because we have to play around Stavka. Afrun Stavka is also a thing that with 2 simul chips out, we're going to have a hard time dealing with. Big ice wall. Can't spell Muse without MU. So this ice wall, eventually we have another turbine, let alone we can just like hush it. Install, it's an upgrade in server 1, so we have to watch out for Hollowman. We could consider running this. I just don't think we want to deal with it. If that's the case, we should maybe just run R&D here. So we can hush this. This costs us 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, it's expensive to run HQ. We could pawn the stone ship, but I think having the panic button is like relatively good against the punitive list. Why creative over gamble? CC is probably more valuable if you need a dip on low run, because we have to play a last click. The flexibility of sure gambles, we can play it at any moment, obviously, as opposed to last click creative. You're right, it allows us to dip, and sometimes that's worth it. Like last click, we can run and bounce up. I just don't think we ever want to run on low credits because they're playing a punitive deck, as much as we are lat with stone chip. I think we just run R&D here. What's the most expensive thing? Like Boitada is pretty shit because we didn't trash something. So you can always like trash the stone chip to get Boitada. Like that's kind of cool. That's really cool. Holy shit, that's cool. I don't know what the rest of our deck is to price. We have 1 lily pad. Like what's left in our deck? Our deck is 1 lily pad, 1 muse, 1 simul chip. I think that's all I can tell you. I think another stone chip. Boitada would love no free lunch. Yeah, right? Like, it's kind of cool. If we want to get a conduit back, we'd have to find our last muse or last simul chip. Like, our recursion's super limited here. So we need to find the last simul chip, then use it, then go HQ. Draw for 3rd simul chip. It's a 1 in 10. 2 coal in the deck? Yeah, 2 coalescence, you're right. 1 muse. I don't know, like, this server gets really cursed. I think we just, like, run R&D. Using the 2 simul chips earlier looks pretty bad. Yes. Now we're worried about half run. It is pretty bad. That's for sure. So I think we need to get a simul chip on the table before we interact with half run. HQ is protected a bit more, but I think Alex has to do that regardless, whether it's a bad situation to keep us busy. I'll draw once. Okay, this draws a card. All right, whatever. So we could run this click if it's a Stavkafrun. It's bad. We could have done environmental testing first. It probably was correct. Let's be honest. I always forget that this is in the hand. Punitive, we're pretty good here. We'll be on 8 cards. I'll run R&D. Let's see if it gets stuff good. If we get stuff good, we get stuff good. I don't know what to say. Ice wall, good start. And this doesn't have to be an advanceable ice. This looks, well, a little cheap ice. This looks like it might be like a slash and burning, but we're on 5/3s. It's all ice walls. Okay. Some combo deck. Basalt. Okay. So we stole 3 points. Let's see what goes back. You're under no pressure to run? No, I'm not, but I kind of want to win sooner than later. Like I don't want to just sit back and do nothing as much as we could sit back and do nothing. Oh, this actually turns off Lat, which is kind of interesting. So I'm glad we have our stone chip. So here we just play sure gamble and throw out the lily pad. Because Alex will be on 6 cards in hand, which is super important. But none of these cards are fantastic. So it was an extract. Okay. So we're just going to try and not die to double punitive. Triple punitive, I don't think the numbers line up. Lat also has a link for some reason. But we don't get lat draw because we stole a basalt. Ice wall, it's getting there. Again, we can just hush the ice wall. Drawing 3rd simul chip and having Steve for it back 100% line. Yeah, we're definitely going to get there. But like if the simul chip is the last card in our stack or even in the bottom 4, we have an issue. All right, extract the ice wall for a spin. I think his hand might be messed up. Oh, Rashida, great. We haven't seen any 2-1s. Like, we're not threatening Clot. So unless we flatline, Alex still has some work to do. The conduit is our multi-axis. It's in our heap. Advancing the ice wall. It's just a firewall now. 6 strength? Uh-oh. I honestly think we could hush it. I don't think actually we need to hush it. Okay, undo. 7 cards in hand. Maybe another ice is a bit more impactful. Yeah. Hush the ice wall. I don't think we're in a rush to. If this is a Stavka Afrun, it'd have to line up in the 18 cards here. We'll pawn the coalescence. Yeah, wear them tree lines. Build your own at home. Okay, we can draw once for a simul chip. Whatever, man. We can pull the 2nd turbine. Yeah, I don't think we really want to hush it. We can move the hush. So here, we could take 2 damage to the Anemone. I'm fine with this. If this gets popped on click 2, we're okay. Tree line, but it's a triple. It's a bit more expensive too. All right, another card out of the deck. 3 cost. It's a Mavirus. So we have to deal with the Mavirus because you can grab a Holloman. We know there's no agenda on the table, so Holloman scores on an Aziev. Maybe we just don't deal with this and we just run R&D. What else can you do with this? Like, this might be Holloman Clearinghouse or Holloman Ice Wall. I think it might be Holloman Ice Wall, which we don't care about it. But the Mavirus into, like, I'm not sure what it is. Why are we scared of running this? I don't know. I think it's Zato. I'm pretty sure it's Zato, and Zato trashing our, like, our program seems kind of bad. We can't get Stavron? Yeah, I'm not worried about Stavron. I'm worried about Zato and trash program subroutine. There's an enemy. Okay, it's good that that's getting drawn as much as you can shuffle with Rashida. We'll pay attention to whether he does or doesn't. Flap cards in. I think we just sure gamble and get the lat draw. Yeah. Okay, got it. Sick. That's really, really good. So now we can simul chip, crack the simul chip for conduit, and then run HQ. As much as the Mavirus on the table makes the conduit slightly less good, but if you purge the Mavirus and op, it shuffles the deck as much as you can refuse to. So decline to use op. So Arzon has an enemy in hand. We have to remember that. Did not shuffle with Rashida. Is Mad Combo still alive? Yeah. It doesn't look like Mad Combo, but it could be. I think this is Holloman and a 5/3 in the remote server. Do you think we run it? I'm pretty sure this is Holloman 5/3 and we lose in like 2 turns. I don't think we pawn anything here. This remote looks cursed. Yeah, it's hard to parse as a player what the heck this could possibly be. So most people just don't interact with it. If we had a light the fire, it would be like no big problem. But Mavirus can go grab ice. Mavirus can grab a Managarm. Mavirus can grab a Warroid. Is this grand op or just tall op? It seems like tall op. So grabbing a conduit's not great because you can just purge. We still have to touch 2 cards to have a chance of winning. We've only seen 2 agendas with 13 cards in R&D, so running HQ is also very reasonable. If we hush Afshar, we save 2 credits. We hush the Ice Wall, we save 2 credits. We can run server 4 first to chase out hopefully a Spin Doctor. I mean, I guess. Then I think we run HQ. Run RD for singles? I don't think we want to work that hard for singles. I'd rather flush HQ here. The thing is, like, if it's singles, there might be 6 points not in R&D, and then running R&D is actually not great. Right? And now there's 6 more points in R&D. So it's not a huge value run, if you ask me. I'm going to do my Starbucks all wrong if the default size is tall. So again, this gets Hollow-Mind. We can't beat it with Clot, not only because we don't have it, because we don't have it. So I think we do Simulchip run HQ, use the Simulchip before we get in, and then we can run R&D once. I think we can just pay a lot of money to make this run. Except that every time this game you run away, run anywhere except the central server has been, oh, the server isn't nearly as scary as I imagined. Sanjay, how's it going? I feel like with upgrades it is quickly. Yeah, the remote server. What are we eating with a Simulchip? Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. What are we eating? Oofa doofa. I don't know. Yeah, nothing, actually. We should have installed the Hush, I think. Okay, we messed up. It's fine. Install. Yeah, we could have installed the Hush first. Excuse me. So here, I think 2 Coalescence is fine. Last click, it draws a card, gains us 3 credits. Karuna. Someone's trying to flatline us. Alex will be on game point next turn. So we can install the Coalescence to draw a card and turns on Simulchip. That might be fine. We had no reason to install the Simulchip here. Unless we hit a snare. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, this is Zato combo. I don't want to interact with this because it looks like he wants to Zato the Karuna into us and then probably like 2 Kana into, I don't know, some other, and 2 Kana into Anemone. Yeah, so it is Holloman, so he's going to score out. But I think it's 2 Kana into an enemy when we steal. So we run, we hit like something in the server that hurts us, and then 2 Kana gets an enemy on the server, which I think we know we have in 2 Kana in hand. We might lose a breaker here, which is good that we got a Simulchip down. But yeah, it's his kill combo deck. So we have to run this server or we lose. Assuming that there's 2 1s, which it might not be. So took down the Turbine. We can respond this turn. We don't really have to. The Turbine barely matters. Kind of matters. Karuna. We break this for literally 1 credit with a Turbine. Isn't that cool? So we can simul chip on his turn to draw a card. I think we will. And then start a turn, we'll sell the Coalescence. So Boitata is still alive. Okay. Not Conduit. No, you're right. We could have like hushed the Ice Wall and gone for the Conduit and tried to close the game out. That might have been more reasonable. We can still do it with the Muse though. Maybe we can go to the remote server on 8 credits. I think it's pretty frightening. Like it's Tucana, Holloman, I think maybe a virus. Maybe something else in here. Someone else is using Karuta. Yo, Diogen, I watched the matchups from like the, what's it called? Against Tuno, a bit of the finals. I really think that if you played Sai Santan in that slot, it had a huge impact on that matchup. It comes down to things like Boomerang and Banhar usually. I do think Karuna is really good if people play Carmen, but also I think it's showing up in this deck because it says 4 on it. It's not bad though. It ends the run, which is kind of cool. The sentry that ends the run is pretty neat. I like this card more than most. Okay, so should we flush the server? If we don't, and if Arzon has a 3-2, next turn he wins. So we have to force him to spend at least 5 credits because he can install a 3-2 from hand, put it in the remote server. If we run this remote server, he can res ice and Zato us. If it's a Zato into a program destruction subroutine, that's not good for us. For what it's worth, we can hush the response to the Zato because you can hush a Zato. The issue is that we have to install the hush and hope. Is all influence revealed? We know 2 anemones. That's 4. Holloman is 5, 6, 7. 3 spin doctors 8, 9, 10. Karuna is 11, 12. We're missing still like 3 influence. Price hits the second turbine. I don't think we really need it, but we could have maybe saved this. I just think we might need some hit points. So I think we should flush this. What is the worst that can be? This can be Zato into something. Did you count Mavirus? No, I didn't count Mavirus. Yeah, I did. So I think it was 12. So we can hush one of these. And then Zato doesn't work. Stavka Zato is kind of expensive. I think you can go in. But Hush actually beats Stavka Zato because Zato is hushable text. So I'm assuming the innermost is an end to run. So we'll just hush this and run it. And then we'll just transition to R&D. With the chip down, you can respond to Zato. We don't have the chip though. We'd have to run HQ for the chip. Yeah, if we were Arasana, we can Muse respond, sort of. Because you can beat Zato on approach. I think Alex is thinking whether he wants a Zato than an enemy. So when we played Alex on the weekend, he had an Archer. It's okay. We have Boitata. We'll be fine into Archer. It's not that expensive, comparatively. If he like SDSs into an Archer, I think we're happy. But yeah, it looks like it's Zato, and Alex is deciding whether he wants to throw the anemone at us to get a 2-cost or to do 1 net damage. Yeah, Zato's hushable text because the card gains the text. So Hush actually does beat it. It's really, really cool. Hush blanks the forfeit cost though? Oh, yeah, that's fine. You're right, it does also. If we hush the Archer, it's bad. I honestly would be so surprised if he's an Archer. We haven't seen Eminent. We haven't seen any small agendas. All right, we made him think. That's good. Making your opponent think is good. Zato's 3 to res. Oh, my card pop-up. Does it work, actually? It technically does. I made it even better on the other machine on Thursday. I shared some script. I made the script even better, so you can actually, like, transition between cards. Zato is such a cool concept. You really want to be good, though, but it just has so many ways to fail. Yes. I'm glad it's remotes only, but, like... I feel like this is the thing, though. As soon as you do this, the server, nobody runs it. And like that is the strength and the weakness of Zato. Is like 2 upgrades? No, thank you. I've pre-hushed an Archer on stream before, not my proudest moment. Did you see the Archer before? I have in tournaments tried to play faster to discourage my opponents from thinking because I don't think it's usually very good for me. No joke, Sanjay. I do the same generally. I play pretty quickly, and a lot of times I feel like my opponents socially think they should match my speed, which is a bad thing to do because I play too quickly and you should not. I do think it is an impact. When you play against people who play fast, it generally makes people feel like they should play faster. All right, not Zatoing it. Break for 1. Boitata, kind of sick. This gets hushed. We can't slide the hush. Tuno notably plays very quickly. I don't think I noticed Tuno playing super quickly. Tuno plays like very creatively, which is cool. Like Tuno lands really interesting lines. All right, so if this is Zato into an end the run, we have to run it back. If it's Zato into something bad, at least No further action. Okay, we had to touch cards. So I'm going to assume one of these could be ganked. So I'm going to access those last. I'm going to access Holloman first because we want to definitely trash Holloman. And then if we get ganked back into something, it's not going to be the end of the world. I don't even use that to crown of servers with a Taya. Fun times. Yes, a Taya and Asa can do some really disgusting stuff. Oh, it's an Anji where you can like actually get a snare in the server. Technically in a different server in Taya, but in Asa you can do some really fun stuff. All right, we'll start here. Pay your money. We lost price and creative. Okay. What is this? It's a Zato. Yeah, we called it. So for those who don't know, this is Zato. The Tukana we probably don't have to deal with, but like we lose this turn. We probably shouldn't have trashed that. We lose this on a single agenda anyways. So that Tukana was probably not worth the credit. So if Alex has a 2-1, we lose. So here we can consider running HQ. We consider running R&D. We run HQ. It's pretty expensive. That's why we should probably should save some credits on those trashes. So we have to still play around punitive, but with Stone Chip, we're in an okay spot. So HQ is protected this turn. I think we run HQ. This is 3, this is 6, this is 7. That drops us down to 4 credits. But then we can get back 2 creative commission or 2 sure game Bs. I'll take a shot at HQ. We know that HQ has 2 punitives. There's just there has to be agendas in HQ. We have 10 cards left here. Maybe we lose to triple punitive. I'm not sure. Breaking Karuna for 1 is kind of cool. Like, just kind of cool. Late game Boitada is sick, as much as it does take up, like, actual memory tax. We could also slide the Hush over. It's like clicking for 2 credits. It doesn't seem great at this point in the game. Doesn't have money for 3 punitive. Extract into double punitive is probably the biggest reach that he has. But yeah, money is not the strongest thing right now for either side of the table. So I guess we're going for creative. We're only on 4. Get a simul chip to start conduit runs? Yeah, that's an option too, but we actually might just simul chip to get Coalescence Muse. That might be better for us. The question is whether we're going to flatline this turn. If we steal an agenda, we're on 7 hand size, so I think we just do double simul chip, and then we do simul chip into Coalescence into Muse at the start of turn window. If we steal an agenda, Alex can go grab, say it's like a Basalt Spire, Alex can go grab and extract, and then he's on 12. I think Muse is better now. Yes, we might as well just get Muse. The thing is, like, Muse is credit neutral, where creative commission is credit positive. You have DZ, so Muse is just as good. We've used DZ on the Hush, so it actually is a bit more expensive. So it's either click for nothing, but gain 6 over 2 turns. So the question is whether we die to punitive here or not. So if we steal an agenda, worst case, we steal a Basalt Spire. If we steal a Basalt Spire, Alex is on 5 cards in hand and on more money. We'll be on 5 cards in hand. So we just click for a credit. We don't die to punitive. I'll try it. I think we might. You can touch agenda to click for a credit. Yeah, that might be okay. Like, we have a Stone Chip. We'll do the Muse. We have to install it this turn, though, if we don't hit an agenda, because we want to be able to pawn something next turn. Believe. Yeah, we definitely know he has the punies. He has to have agenda somewhere. They might also be in archives. We've chased 3 spins. But he still has a lot of work to do. Not a lot of work. Like, he could just win off of Azief and Audacity. It's always that damn card, isn't it? So we could just lose this turn, or we can install the Muse and hope. So we'll go for the Muse. We'll go from the heap. We'll get Coalescence. We are weak to, like, all the gross Wayland stuff, like Trojan. Still an extract in there. Yeah, but if we hit like a Basalt, he gets a card back from his bin. So he's only played 1 extract so far face up. Ooh, Ice on R&D. Looks like he doesn't have an Audacity. Doesn't look like he has a win here. So unless this is a 3-2, like an above the law, which could be the list. I think we pawn this, no problem. If we run R&D, he's on 6 credits. Yeah, Trojan Horse would have been really, really good. I think you just, can you shoot the lily pad? Or is it just programs? So we're 4 on 4. We have another Muse in hand, which is another gross install. If we run HQ, which is pretty expensive, we can get Conduit. It's just programs, okay. I think server 1 has to be like either Rashida, which we could consider dealing with. It can't be a Spin Doctor, it could be an agenda. Checking this costs us 1 credit unless Alex reses, which I don't think he wants a res. I think we can actually afford to run this. Just played a game in Netrunner League. Old Netrunner feels so different. Like Eternal or old Netrunner? Old Netrunner. Like ONR or like 2013? Huh. I feel like we're going to struggle to close the game out unless we get our conduit. Because we still have to steal 2 agendas. We're assuming this deck is on mostly 5/3s. This, if it's a Rashid, it's pretty good for Alex because Alex needs money. Because he doesn't have an extract. So we could run this break for 1. This is hushed, which is good. This wasn't res last turn, so I think we just send it. Yeah, I think we just send it first click. I haven't planned the rest of the turn, though. This is a hard deck to play comparatively, and I got to play more Netrunner today. That's not good. We can check the remote and run R&D. Yeah, we can. I'm worried of dropping to 2 low credits. So this is hushed, which beats Zato. I don't think we did the Archer check. I think Archer we break for 2/4/6, so we're fine. We can break it for 5 and end the run. As much as it is hushed. But it would have been res before, I reckon. Border control. Okay, sick. That's a really good res to get chased out earlier in the turn. Fortunately, it's not hushed, so I reckon Alex will pop that. If this is a Rashida. Yeah, okay, another card out of the deck. Let's see what 3-coster we get. We don't have that many options. Is it Zato? Okay, the server now really matters. The thing is, Zato says, again, the ice gains the text. So if you Zato the enemy, it's just 1 net damage. Can't fire snare, so we can and should probably just run this. Rashida's scarier for him than me. Well, yeah, he needs money to win. And I don't want him to draw, because if he has like a 2/1 in the deck, he finds it and he wins. I think we just run this back. We can't trash the Zato, but if he throws an enemy at us, it saves us a credit. He can't op, so he's just like grinding for value. Is this Angie? So we took a damage because he threw the thing at us. We hit a pawn shop, whatever. Azyef? Oh, shit. There are real 3/2s in the deck. Oh, that's incredible. Okay. I'm glad we ran that. So I don't think we trash this. I think we just win off of R&D here. So we can run R&D for a credit. He can't res. We're likely to win here. The only thing he can res is an ice wall, but we've seen 3 ice walls. The last one's in the bin. So we break for 1. Then I think we just draw a card. There's no way we don't win off the top here. Fuck. It's just always that guy, huh? All right. So he still has some work to do. Double punitive. Let's not die to that. Don't forget to check archives. I don't know if we have to do it this turn. I think I'd rather just not die to double punitive in some weird way. We have stone chip, actually. Whatever. I'll check archives. Clean. Second extract was thrown out. He still has an enemy somewhere. It might be here. All right. Still could have an audacity, yeah. Jakob, whoa, what a time to be alive. Just hopped here from Bridgman's stream. Yeah, we're playing Bridgman's deck too. I'm glad that you were watching some Bridgman. Again, great player. Nice dude. Okay. 5 cards left. What's the corporate influence count? We've gained no new information, so I think it's still 12. Maybe 14 because we saw the second Karuna. Oh, Tempo Punitive. Okay. Oh, hold on. Nanako, the cat has to go out. So we can beat this for 4 credits or we can lose 2 cards in hand. I think we're okay losing 2 cards in hand. On 0 credits, there's not much you can do. We'd rather keep one of those. Give me 1 second. I need to let Nana out. All right, credit. So we have to not die to an enemy. Can't fire snare here. Pawnshop, okay. Yeah, Muse was worth it. Like, we could have protected the Muse, and it might have been fine, because Muse was actually worth a lot of money in our engine. That being said, we can technically run HQ. Rooted if Counter-Strike. So we're on 7. The most surprise damage can be is an enemy res, but that is a bit pricey. So we can draw once for safety, but I don't know how Alex gets credits. We'll sell the DZ, yeah, eventually we'll sell the DZ. I think the last card in their deck is Coalescence. The last 2 cards in our deck are 2 Coalescences. No, 1 Coalescence, and I don't know the last card. I'm not sure the last card. It's a Coalescence and something. I think a Hannah, maybe? No, the Hannah's in there. Yeah, bottom deck Diesel. Sick. We're running D for a single. It costs us 1. He can't really res. And then otherwise we'll just like click for credits and pretend to siege HQ in a couple turns. If we see an Audacity, we just have to run HQ. Oh, no, that's bad. That's not a good draw. Okay, so we can run HQ here. It's actually worth a fair bit of money. We break this for 1. We break this for 1. We can slide the hush over and run. I think that's fine. We know the hand has 1 punitive, which was maybe played, but we know there's another punitive in hand. The agenda is 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Like there has to be like half the hand has to be agendas. So sliding the hush over is like clicking for a credit. Whatever we slide it on, it's fine. The problem is if we slide it, it gets extracted. KTCB would also have saved money. No, it doesn't save any money. Why? On the ice wall? Saves, yeah, technically saves on the ice wall, but we'll rather hush it, I think. The problem is I don't want to slide the hush on the turn before he extracts. So extract is coming up. He has to do credit, extract, and we lose the hush dice. I think that's fine. Yeah, Karuna's seeing play because it's a combo deck. I think it's like maybe Karuna ganked. I'd be more upset if I think he can't extract the ice wall because the 0 costers are pretty bad. So we'll run HQ last click. 1, 2, 3. We have a shot. Sorry, a door to open. I have to go close that in a second. Steve for Silent Chip for Conduit? I don't think we need it. I think we just need to keep our money up. Seeing an extra card in R&D is not super important. We'd rather run HQ. He has 2 agendas in there. We just need to figure out how to make HQ cheap. So we just need money. I don't think we need R&D multi-axis. So if we want money here, I think the most money we can get is Muse into Conduit. It's not money immediately. We have no clicks left. I think that's the best we can do. I'm assuming something's going to be extracted next turn, and the Muse also means we can get the hush back on the table. Yeah, there you go. I think his hand is half agendas, if not 3. Oof. How many in there? But like, he has 10 cards left. There has to be agendas in HQ. Yeah, that tracks. So it's punitive, SDS, drone deployment, and agenda. Yeah, really good. We're still in the Boitata gang. Yeah, it's sick. This Boitata is really good. We bring Karuna for 1. Like, it's been fine. It's honestly been fine. It's a bit better than it looks. What's the full combo? I sniffed out the Zato with Tucana into Anemone. But what's the Karuna for? Just good forecaster? Use Zato, a Karuna into them and grab an enemy with it. Oh, right. That tracks. On the turn I jacked out, was it lethal? So what did I hush on the remote? All right, so the idea is the remote server, forecaster, you res the Karuna, you Zato the Karuna at them, which does 2 damage. Then when you trash the Karuna with op, you go get an enemy gets rezzed, which does 2 more damage. I played a combo like this, but I was also running oh, we hushed an envelopment. Holy shit, that's sick. We were also running Unsmiling Tsarevna, which is also very obnoxious because we had end the lines in the deck. I think Unsmiling Tsarevna was really, really nice. I wonder where Andre put Boitata in his tier list video. Yep, not well. Not great. And when he does his 2 damage before Karuna, importantly. True. Because you trash the ice as the cost, right? You may trash his ice to resolve, yeah. So it does the 2 into the 2. I don't think it really matters that much. Very much my kind of op. I drew the last enemy at the end there. I saw it. I saw that you drew it. I was hoping you wouldn't do the Rashida shuffle. Play chicken with the Azap for League on the remote. Yeah. So we did a list like this back in the day, and so it ran Unsmiling Tsarevna, which was really good to Zato them because you can also Zato them for the tag on some certain board states. And then not only did we run, there's other cool things you can run this list, right? Like you can do Reaper function, which if they run last click, 4-coster, trash the Reaper function to get a 3-coster. And then you can trash the Reaper function to get a 2-coster. And then we're also running Vera. And Vera is really cool because with Vera, if you score out the Azyef and trash a 4-coster, the Vera will see the 3-2 score and then also does 3 damage bursts. Yeah, your beginning was super slow, which I appreciated a lot. Hard to use the punitive fork if they just Patriots, yeah. Yeah. My simul chips were taxed bad, but that was bad planning on my part. Yeah, the first SDS going across was fine. Karuna lets them immediately jack out. Oh no, yeah, you choose the subroutine with Zato, so you do the first subroutine. So the order doesn't exactly matter. It's resolve a subroutine. It's your choice, the corp. I think you died if you tried to contest and grab the first. Yeah, I think so. I've tried versions of this with Vera for a 3 damage Aziev push, and I've also used Saryevna. Thanks to great Netrunner content. Hey, Kenya. Thanks for the kind words. I discovered your channel just recently and enjoy your content greatly. Hey, thank you so much. We're going to be playing some paper play on Thursday night with Pat, which I'm really excited for. So the channel is going to like shift gears slightly, but it's going to be easier to do like some, you know, constructive play content on the channel for newer players, which I'm really excited about. Oh yeah. That's really hard for me to deal with. Yeah, SDS, sorry, CityWorks project and their mode server. It's a 5-3 agenda that does damage when you steal it. So it makes it a really difficult fork. Paper play. Thanks for the game. This is Arzon, mind you. It's our world champ. He's always out here grinding on Metropole Grid streams, playing weird decks too. Internet celebrity Pat. This one and same. Are we doing on time? It's been 2:38. The stream might be slightly shorter than some other streams on Tuesdays just because we have a GNK this evening at like, it starts at like 5:30, which means I need to finish the stream, do all the publishing stuff. Then I need to go make dinner, eat dinner, and then I have to pack up and go over there. It's like, it's a lot on a single day. Hey, it's Rahi. I've seen you been updating a certain hyperbaric list. How have you been? Rahi makes Cyberfeeder, the plugin that we've been using. She's been updating it. She's also been updating the cool hyperbaric list that she posted, which is sick. Ooh, PD, cool, speed. Does it make you a world champ? Technically, yes. And then anyone who's ever played a game in Netrunner against me and won, also are world champs. We can all be world champs. Oh. Hopefully, it's been a good change. Best of luck, have fun. All right, so we're playing against PD. This could be Shoot the Moon PD, it could be Core Damage PD, it could just be Reg Stuff PD. Now, our opening hand has Propeller, which is pretty good for an early contest. And then we have Aesops and just a lot of money. For what it's worth, money doesn't solve all the issues, but money is obviously not a bad thing to have. We have Pawnshop. I do feel like I'm a bit more of a 3 lily pad gamer because I like our engine. I played you and lost. Does that count? Yeah. I think 3 losses is 1 win, right? Like we have like a punch card system. You probably should get yours in the mail. I think we'll keep this. Rahi Mulligan, so we can maybe be okay with a slightly like more generalist hand as opposed to like beat Shoot the Moon on turn 3 hand. We'll find out. Why is it called Shoot the Moon? Well, there's an old Netrunner card called Shoot the Moon. It has nothing to do with it. I think it's just more about like going fast, and it's the name that was given to the list by Abraham when it was published. Abraham, mind you, is Man of the Moon. That's probably a big reason why. I think that's probably the reason why, is Abraham's handle is Man of the Moon. Double greasing. Okay, so this means that Drafter is a bit more frightening. Now, if we're worried about this being a barrier, we could just like full send it. If it's what's it called? A Tranquility Home Grid, we want to sure gamble and then run it. In theory, if we want to play around MIC, we can do like double sure gamble run it. If it's a Gatekeeper, we want to have 1 click left. I'm okay doing double sure gamble run. Can I redeem one of my punch cards for an on-stream win? Oh, 100%. Yeah, we played around it mostly. So we only lose 1 click to this. If the corporation has more than like 5 credits, they have 6+. Sometimes you want to run not on the first or second click. We technically could have like respected even worse and ran last click, but I want to be able, if it's like you don't want to run last click into a drafter because then she can just install a Rashida or an agenda on the table. So this is like probably the mid case where you want to play into it slightly. There's a card called Shoot the Moon, but that has nothing to do with it. Kill it. Well, there is. It's an old card. It's a goofy card. Gamba install Aesops, CC lat draw is hype. Yeah, we didn't play into lat draw at all. I did not even consider it. This is a bad matchup for lat draw because the corporation has 6 hand size and we just can't have that number. But breaking an MIC early is going to be tricky for us. So like she can score out this turn. It was a Rashida, of course. All right, so now we are going to be punished by having a hand of an economy, but no breakers. So, all right. We could do sure gamble into creative, and that gets us lat draw, but it just gives us money. I feel like going slow is what we can't do, so we probably have to diesel into discard a bunch of cards. So Stone Ship is probably a bit of speed. NV testing is not incredibly necessary, but we haven't installed a single damn card, so it's probably worth something. But then what's the worst card in our hand here? Like, honestly, the worst card in our hand is probably environmental testing, because we have 2 other econ cards that are just going to be a bit faster. So we might just like install Stone Ship and then throw at the NV testing. I'm really bad sometimes at installing this card though. It's just like not a card I appreciate. It's weird. If this is a daily cast, I would play it. Like clearly it's going to give us 6 credits. I just like, what's the worst card in our hand? Pawnshop doesn't do anything, but it's a part of the engine. Propeller is nice. NV testing, Simulchip is really nice. I honestly think we install Stone Ship and throw out the environmental testing. I don't like this. That might not be the play. Let's see if she seamlesses out. That would be bad. Seamless out like into midnight 3, I think is the worst case. If she just scores an off-roll and passes, I think we're okay with it. Okay, fine. Good. We have more game. All right, Trank. Probably should deal with that. Luckily, we have some time. She is good money. She's playing around Lat by having low cards in hand, which we can technically not deal with that. We're just going to Stone Ship here for card draw, I think. So this is likely an agenda. If she has single Seamless in hand, this plays poorly into a burner, but we have way bigger problems and we're not playing burner. I think we'll just draw it because we need to. Oh, okay, sick. That's actually really good. So here we can do and just pay like a bunch of credits. I don't think we need to get the DZ down this turn, but we can do Sure Gamble, Buzzsaw, Propeller, Run. It allows her to crack MIC last click, but if she trades an MIC, I think we're relatively okay with that. Do we need the Sure Gamble? Otherwise, if we do Buzzsaw, Propeller, we'll go down to 8 credits. So we could play around the MIC, but we probably should deal with the Tranquility. We break this for 4. I think we just do everything. This is running last click, which is a bit cursed. If we force a res of a Gatekeeper here, she might be on 4 cards in hand. But we can't break Gatekeeper, so we just need to force a Gatekeeper. Yeah, we might not need the gamble, but I think if she trashes an MIC early, that's fine. Okay, we break the server. This is 3, this is 4. We also don't have to break all the subroutines, so we do save a credit, but if she trashes the server just to be a Brawn, I think we're okay. And we're assuming that this card in hand is a Seamless. With Pawnshop, we're actually really good with the Propeller to aggressively deal with Bronze. So we'll match strength, we'll only break the 1 subroutine that matters. So she can trash this if she wants to keep us out, but then her server falls apart. Drafter kills. Drafter's not great, but we have to take risks. Off-rolled, keeping her server, and it's a Tranquility home grid. I think there's a chance that we want to trash this because she doesn't have cards in hand and we have a creative commission. Feels bad, but like we're assuming this card in hand is a Seamless, or she doesn't have the Seamless, and now she actually has to draw. Because any turn she jams behind here, we can't check, so we need to keep her off of that. So we have to rebuild this turn. We're assuming 1 card in hand is a Seamless, so here we're going to have to set up the rest of our stuff. So what can we do? Creative is a click. We can pawn the Propeller, probably. Ideally, we draw into a Coalescence, I think. We can also not draw, and we just do credit, creative, pawn, Simulchip. Yeah, I think it's a good trash. The creative makes it easier. If we didn't have a creative, it'd be a bit harder, but Tranquility home grid's like, it's just such a busted card. This also could be a Spin Doctor, so if we play around it like this, it's not great for us. Lat draw? No action. We'll get it. We're checking because this could be a Spin Doctor and she can res it. Price. That's really nice too. If this finds a Lily Pad, a Coalescence, a Muse. Even a Turbine. Turbine saves us a bit. Now we want to probably sell this Propeller just because, shit, that's good though. She might have agendas in hand here. Her money's been good. She played 2 hedges, greasing, second Tranquility. She gained money with this, right? Okay, so Seamless into agenda is what this looks like. I think we just start with the price and see what happens. Simulchip, Aesops. Trashed another price and a diesel. Okay, not huge. It's probably the Simulchip here. It means we can contest this. We break this for 4, we break this for 3. Not actually really, don't worry about it. So we can pawn the Propeller, it's probably correct. We love a Muse or a Coalescence draw. That's fine too. So we can install this and click for credit. It's fine. If she reses a Spin Doctor, we can respond to it by popping the Stone Ship chart room and we both get cards. Okay, that's good, eventually, sort of. Ooh, drawing up. So it looks like not an agenda or not a seamless or an Ikwa. Probably an upgrade. She wants to install something on the Tranquility, but this is a pretty slow start. No points. Turn 6. It's weird how that's slow. But we get more time to do our thing, which is good. And it could be good if we want to click through Braun. Yeah, it does help. It makes the MIC like fine because you can't lose a click on it, but it's not something we want to get down now. But it's nice that we can contest this. We could have got a pawn shop down to pawn the propeller, which is probably correct. It's hard to use one counter on the propeller. So we're going to get the pawn shop down. So I think it's another turn we take off and just play board game. Lily pad, not bad. Love a coalescence or muse. Okay. So muse makes that a bit better. So we need to figure out if we can swallow the DZMZ cost. If we install the DZ, we go down to 4. We install the muse, we go down to 1. Then we take the money back. And then we're on 3 in hand. We want to be on 4 in hand. So it could just be install the muse for the coalescence, install Aesops, but then we don't get that. So we probably actually pop the stone chip. I don't think we install the DZ. I think we install Aesop's muse, go down to 3. Oh, that's ugly. We don't get the lat draw. We can install Lily pad, install muse to get the lat draw. I don't think we get the lat draw here. I think we just set up the muse engine. And we need the pawn shop. We want to pawn the propeller actually pretty quickly so we can contest this. Aesops is, yeah, we definitely want Aesops if we get the muse down, let alone if we get the propeller down. So I think we have to get this down because it's technically like 6 credits for a click as long as we get the pawn shop down. But then we don't get lat. I think that's just where we are. So we'll go from our, we haven't trashed one yet. There's no good place to put the camera. This is so much a Netrunner streaming, just moving your camera. I probably should just like say it's going to be here and not worry about settled side zones, but that it's not great. So go for a stack for a coalescence. We can take the money and then we'll impale the pawn shop and we'll just won't get lat draw. I'm assuming she seamless is out in agenda. I never noticed the flavor on muse before. Porcos is fantastic. Also, hi. Ren, how's it going? Vo, mentor angel, murdered by Porcos, never forgotten. Vo, if I'm not mistaken, is the Brazilian Portuguese term for grandmother, who is the character depicted on the mural. It's very sweet. It's very sad too, as well. But we see Vo and we see Vovo, which is, I think, grandmother and grandfather cutely. No cards, just Andre cam all the time. Like, this is the thing. This is where the camera wants to go, but like, this is an important part of the space. Maybe I should get it that the camera hides whenever I hit control, which sorts the bin. That would probably be the best thing to do. That I could lock those two things together. All right, she's drawing. What's the remote server? Like Managarm and a Weddick, but not an agenda. Maybe she's like seamless lost. But this is not a great turn for her. She's drawn through 20 cards. We've seen 1 agenda, probably 2 because there's 1 in the remote server. Okay, so it looks like it is double upgrade. So the remote server is kind of cooked. We're very bad at dealing with upgrades. So if anything, we should run HQ here. Could be a Mav, yeah. I think there's sometimes I should install anything because it's +2 credits. So the question is, how risky is it running HQ? We kind of want to wait until we get our turbine down. And I think with 6 cards in hand here, this is where we should use our stone chip to draw 3. You want to kind of like milk the value. This feels like Flesh and Blood to some extent, where it's like a stone chip, I get 3 value from it, pop it. And it's like kind of correct. We want to end our turn on 4 cards, stone chip to 6 after discard, and then get the 7th card. Everyone's information dense game gotta fit a lot on the screen. Yes, but it's also like the board always changes. There's no space that is like sacred. It's not like Hearthstone where you can like, this spot doesn't matter. All right, I'm assuming she's scoring this turn. If we had burner, we'd try and go for the seamlesses, but we need to get through our deck here. So we have to draw. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So we can draw once more. No, we can install a card. Creative. Hate it. What do we have access into our heap? Nothing really besides the coalescence. But we probably want to go the stone chip draw. So we could go for the environmental testing. I think our money's pretty good. But we can do NV testing. We still have a lot to install. No, we probably can do an NV testing here. NV testing credit, crack stone chip, hit 6. I just don't like that we're not doing much on these turns. There's a window to crack this before end of turn, right? Draw 2 cards. Can I get lat here? I'm pretty sure you can do this. I feel like I messed it up on JNet. Someone correct me if this is wrong. There's a window. Yeah, I don't know when to do it on JNet. All right. I'm assuming she's going to score out here. You just need the information to, excuse me, you just need to replicate all card art and camera during stream. I just need to project it on my face. Okay, advance. This is good because that means the next turn she can seamless and then push the next agenda. I vote for you working with devs on replacing the playmat with your kid. Holy Sam, how's it going? It'd be so gross. It's definitely possible. I think all I have to do is like replace it with a green screen, which I can do, and then just green screen it in. The problem is it's gonna, like, every other green card will be a problem. I wonder if a 1x Light the Fire would do anything in this deck. It's a good card, Blurby, and people are playing it. It's not bad. I think Pinhole is the same sort of slot, but at least it's an installable, and we interact with installables a bit better, I think, on average. Okay, so we can price for a turbine, and then we can just run this. Managar Manoetic is a bit expensive. I think we'd rather run HQ if we can. We don't have a cup. The only pressure we have is Conduit. All right, Coalescence into DJ Fenris. We lost a Creative Commission, and it's 2 Coalescence. We can pick one of them. So Coalescence, we could have got Lilypad down first for a card draw. Maybe that was a bit faulty. DJ Fenris can give us free runs, which is good. It can give us HQ pressure, which is good. If it's a drafter on HQ, it just fires. We can't stomp it. Oh, we can actually. We can simulchip for a Muse. So we should contest HQ here. So I think we do DJ Fenris. We go for Steve, and then we can run HQ and get like prices, I think. I think that's the fastest setup card we have. Yeah, free DJ Fenris is pretty good. So like there's a chance Sable is correct because we're assuming that this deck has Iquas, and like against HP getting free runs is actually kind of nice because there's a lot you have to do. Is Fenris Wolf 3? Fenris I think is Wolf 1, and then you and Fenris make Wolf 2. We get good value running HQ here, and it forces HB to ice up HQ, which they're not particularly good at. So I think we will go Steve. I just hate that Steve is like the auto. Like you have to make sure you're not auto Steving all the time. Play pad first to get draw. Yeah, changeling. I feel like we should have. Another selling point in Cam is playmat. Your eyes just peeking out between 2 eyes in the background. No further. Okay. So what is the most damage we can do here? I think double price is like really fun. Gatekeeper, okay. K2 CP Turbine, Boitada, Hush. So I like the Turbine because it's the most expensive. And we need the Turbine for the remote server. And so here we have one last click if we want to. Environmental Testa is working. I feel like we could have scheduled this turn in so many different ways that might have been better. I don't think this is a salvo. I think Boitada will get back with the Simo chip. Turbine's a bit more expensive, so we actually save a credit getting the Turbine now. It also means that the remote server gets cheaper to run. We might do a 2 turbine matchup if we can afford everything. And so then here it's probably Creative Commission. I feel like the Lilypad we've just kind of stalled out on, but that's fine. We can also simulchip this turn for Muse into Coalescence, which means then we should Lilypad, or we could fuck, our MU's cursed. But we need to like simulchip on tempo for something. So we could like simulchip for the Boitada before end of turn, but then we should simulchip for something to trash. Yeah, I think we install the Lilypad and just eat the trigger, and then we simulchip here for Boitada, and then we simulchip again for Muse Coalescence. Oh, I did that in the wrong order. Oops. Oh, sorry. That was wrong order. Oh, it's fine. It's actually fine because of the environmental testing. So target for simulchip. Now we can get 2 simulchips on HQ. So with this simulchip, luckily these go in order. So here we can now go for the Muse, and then the Muse gives us 9 credits, and then we can use that to install from the heap. We should have just done those in the... Oh, the order didn't matter because Boitada is free. Then we'll go from the heap and we'll get a Coalescence. And so now where rig is set up and it's turn 7 and we're in a good spot. Dan, I don't know if I said hi. Which wolf is Lou? By the way, Oscar, the story that you shared, I haven't responded to the comment. The Omelis story, I read it. It was so good. It was really powerful. Thank you for sharing what that was. That was kind of great. I would recommend it. The short story came up on our last stream. I didn't know about it. It's the people that walk away from Omelis, I believe it's called. Really, really good. I like that she scored this out with a click left so she can use the remote server and jam. A lot of people just like seamless launch pass, and I think this is so much better. Notably, she didn't seamless launch. So ADT can jam another agenda in here, but we should be able to contest this. If it's a border control, we can always like tank it. But we don't run the server for that expensive. Well, a propeller's actually an issue. Wait, how do we run the server? We click the Brawn, I think? That's not good. Sell propeller and do all that? Yeah, we could have done the next turn selling the propeller. That's for sure. PD on 2 points. Yeah, it looks like she had a struggle opening. We did contest the early off-world, but this doesn't look great. Yeah, we can click through this, but then MIC does something. Hannah, if we got it down early, we'd be okay. But here at this point, we need to either find our cleaver. We have our second turbine in the bin. We have 2 simul chips. So we probably just run HQ, do 2 simul chips. I think then we can still contest the remote server if we do 2 simul chips. Can you contest a Managram Anoetic server? I think we can. Because ideally we run this server for like 4 credits. Maybe we can't. Maybe we just do conduit. No, there's no HQ multi-access Yoka. None at all. No cup, no Docklands, no legwork, nothing. The most pressure we have is Steve for HQ. Oh, Rashida. So she either doesn't feel like she has an agenda. She knows the next 4 cards in R&D. Greasing the palm goes back. She's going to grease the palm something on HQ or R&D here. Looks like we can go R&D now. Unfortunately, that looks like a spin doctor. So not jamming an agenda, that's huge for us. I think we just pawned this. So running HQ gives us Steve. Steve allows us to grab a card. 2 simul chips is pretty important for our engine. We can get environmental testing down first. That's whatever. I think we get Hannah and check server too. Double price might find cleaver. Yeah, I actually kind of like double price. Like it's so much setup. I think we'll just start by checking. I don't think we need to deal with Rashida. Yeah, it looks like the points are in R&D, and she knows the next 4, so she knows how bad this draw is. We want to chase down the spin doctor before running HQ, because if she has an agendas there, they're going to go in HQ. That being said, if she has an agenda, would she have jammed it, or did she not see an agenda? So it is a spin doctor. She might let us trash this, but if there's agendas on the next, she knows the next 2 cards, so she knows what R&D run is, and if she shuffles, she knows nothing. I think we trash this. Need to find conduit here? Yeah, I think we do. I don't think we've seen it yet. So we could go price for conduit. I actually would be fine doing price for conduit, which is so funny. She probably has another in hand. I don't think we trash this. I think we run HQ. I recommend another one. I recommend anyone to go find those who walk away from Malice. I made it a game where you play as a citizen in a Malice and get to make a choice if you walk away, treat the child any way you want and see how the city reacts. How did people interact with it? No further? There should be points in here, of course, but I don't know. Like it would probably be like an ugly Ikawa. And no burners, Dan. We got nothing for HQ pressure. Yeah, sure. All right, she wants a res. Oh, BC. Okay, so you have to play around BC being on this server. This means the deck is most likely Anoetic. We break this for... I'm going to break for 2 credits, I think. I probably shouldn't have broken for 2. Okay, 2 cards from the heap. If we do double price, we can hit Turbine really easily. Nearly half the time. And it draws a card. Just like the price. I just think it's neat. Gatekeeper, okay. We can price for conduit and see 2 cards on top of R&D, and then she has a conduit issue. As much as there could be a virus in the remote server, just send it. We haven't lily padded. DZ, Parisha, Aesop's, SMC. Okay, hold on. That's not good. So, wait, these also... these are not great. I'm glad we didn't draw these, though. The Price is Right Avatar, how's it going? So SMC, we're over MU. That's not the worst thing. But our bottom 6 cards of our deck has our Cleaver and it has our Conduit. Pawnshop we don't need. Parisha we don't need. DZ is like whatever. Again, you can always just pawn it. That sucks. Yeah, it's going to be the DZ, I think just about for sure. So she's going to draw 2 unknown cards. We've done our value, so we can just create a commission here. We're not going to get our lat draw. We do need to draw through our deck, though. We have no way of drawing off DZ. We want to get the NB testing down, I think, sooner. But I think we just creative for 4. Now let's just draw. We need to find our conduit. That's good. That's really, really good. SMC to summon is too expensive. It's expensive, but the biggest thing is we'll have to trash one of our programs because we'll be over MU. Which, like, we don't really want to SMC for our conduit. We could just draw our conduit. It was quite even split between all endings. People liked exploring the different moralities of the choices. I like the ending where, like, it's kind of a positive ending for those, you know, who walked away into the unimaginable. Like, it doesn't mean the unimaginable is terrible. I guess that's one reading of it. All right, she's broken lock. She looked at 4 cards and didn't install any of them in the remote server, and she can install agendas. But now she drew into 2 unknown cards. I read such a good response piece to Malice called "Why Don't We Just Kill the Kid in the Malice Pit" by Isabel J. Kim. Holy crap. I'll check that out for sure. I feel like reading good short stories is like a very good late night spiral for me on the computer. I think the last one I did that too. What is it? There's like that really vulgar one about the road trip with the old lady, and then they kind of like the car breaks down and they meet a criminal. If you know, you know. ICE protecting HQ, so ICE is going on R&D here. There's also Jemison's the ones who stay and fight as a response to the end of a Malice. Oh, cool. So border control and HQ, agenda on the remote server, seamless launch in hand is very likely. If we run this remote server, we're assuming it's anoetic border control, which means, anoetic mana garb and maybe border control. Which not only can we not deal with bronze somehow, is that the spin doctor makes it a bit easier to do the anoetic, so we could have considered trashing that. Now, if this is conduit, we've seen a gatekeeper, so if that's a gatekeeper, that's a 3 credit break. Unless we hush it, which saves us 2 credits. Oh, excuse me, but hush is in the bin. The Le Guin stuff but reminds me of a modest proposal that was kind of like, let's eat the poor and starving younglings, if I recall correctly. Credit, okay. So she can win in 2 turns. We're assuming this is seamless into jam on the following turn, and then we lose then and there. She has to discard a whole bunch of cards, which means the Spin Doctor contest was a bit interesting. At a minimum, we can hand her the Spin Doctor to see what she does. So we'll Aesop's the Muse, I'm pretty sure. We're on 14 credits. We have 5 cards left in the stack, including a Cleaver, including our Conduit, and 2 Muses. Holy crap, our deck is weird. That's an interesting series of cards. So we can Diesel to start. That should draw everything we need. Yeah, okay. So there's 1 card in the deck. I don't think I know what it is. So if we install the Conduit, it installs for 3 and draws the final card. I feel like we can do environmental testing here. I think it'll just have enough time, but that's maybe a bit hopeful. Oh, and a chip. Really? Is there actually 1 more chip left? That's a really good card there. Yeah, 1 more chip. Hey, say that you're playing in person and you don't know the cards in your stack and you haven't manipulated them with Class Act. Do you allow your opponent to look at their deck? This was like on Neon Static yesterday, I think. And it's a good thing to practice because in tournaments you can't. But like, if I had 2 cards left in my stack, I wouldn't look at my heap. I'd just be like, opponent, can I look at my 2 cards in my stack and shuffle them? As long as it's not like ordered with Class Act. And I think people are okay with that in a non-tournament setting. Okay, the question is, can we win without this environmental testing? I think we might need the environmental testing. So at a minimum, we can like show less information and hand to the Spin Doctor and see if she pops it. If she doesn't, it costs us nothing even if we don't trash it. I don't think we're going to run server 1 this turn. We need to pinch the agendas from R&D before they end up in the hell server. Yeah, it is Flannery O'Connor. Exactly, yeah. Yes. The Life of You Save may be your own. I don't think that's the title, but it is an O'Connor short story. Okay, so 2 went back in. So there's 2 agendas in R&D there. We're pretty sure. So that was good. So here we can do NV testing, Conduit, run R&D. And then last click, we can install the Muse if we want to. 8 credits means we can break everything. If it's a gatekeeper, that's the most expensive. Then we just run R&D here and discard the lily pad. A good man is hard to find. That's the one, Matt. Yeah. Drafter, we break for 1 credit. Take that, Echelon fans. We didn't get Steve this turn, which might have been worth something. Oh, we also could have cracked Hannah this turn maybe, but I think Hannah for the remote server is going to make sense. Hammer. Whoa, cool. That's a very expensive res, so she needs us to be an off-world. But we also break Hammer for 4 credits, which is not awful. It'll eventually be 2 credits once we get our next turbine down, but you assume most rigs. Oh yeah, we can't steal Iqua. This is a pretty cursed run. I don't like this. Oh, that's not a good draw. For us. Generally, I don't like the type of raw memorization being a part of the game, so I'd probably let them look. Yeah, me too. I'm not a huge fan of it. Seamless went back into hand, but she didn't jam, so we have a turn. We did not have anything we can pawn very easily. We can pawn the DZ maybe. I don't think we do though. I think we run HQ this turn. What could we possibly pawn here? Seamless is in hand. The problem is like Netrunner is making me like really upset about games that have memorization as part of the game. Like I can't deal with it. I don't know. Propeller? We need the propeller to get through the border control. But you're right. We're probably going to pawn the propeller to get the cleaver down for 2 anyways and hit environmental testing. So that's probably fine. So we can run R&D in C2. As long as we have Ikwa clicks, that's fine. I've lost so many games against PD Hammer. Face checking into this is disgusting. So we can install Cleaver, drawing a card. We can install Simulchip. Now I think we just like install Cleaver, install Muse. Running HQ last click is bad. So this is, what do we Simulchip for? I think the second turbine just to make the remote server really, really bad. Oh, we probably run HQ this turn. So let's start with the Cleaver. Draw the card. It's the last Muse. So running HQ is 1 credit now, which is good. That will fire Steve. With Steve, we can go get Muse Coalescence. So we just get 2 Coalescence, I think. We can install that. As long as we have a click and credit on the axis, it's fine. If she cracks the border control, we're pretty happy about it. And then we'll install the Simon chip. Carp wins the Ikko on server 1. Next turn, maybe. So we're just going to be prepared to run that. But she didn't jam this turn, so next turn she could win on the Ikkoa. So yeah, we might have to be a bit more aggressive than what I'm doing. Managarm. We're assuming there's a Managarm in server 1, so I don't really want to trash this. We need to keep our money up for the contest. So if we want to contest next turn, we can install the Coalescence. If we install the Simul chip, we can respond, but I think we just need the Creative Commission to be on 9. We can also get a click here with Hannah, but if we install the Creative Commission, this is worth 8 credits, this is worth fewer. She solves the Ikkoa, we have to like hush this, I think. That Managarm is going on R&D now. I think that's fine. If she Managarms R&D, then we can run this. Like we want to run this. If she reses this Managarm, we can go for that. Yeah, it's chip or environmental testing or creative. We have to plan our next turn. Like, okay, so she has 1 seamless. So the minimum she can do install advance. If this is a border control, that's like gross. The simul chip means we can either grab hush or we can grab turbine. Turbine saves us 2 credits. So I think we'd rather have access to this because we're going to coalescence. We also like think that there's a lot of agendas in R&D. We know there's a seamless in hand and a Managarm in hand. So if she does install advance, we lose here. And maybe we haven't been putting up enough pressure and we've just been setting up. But we still have Hannah, so we have like a 6-click turn next turn. 4 runs with Conduit is like a bit dodgy because there could be a virus here, but it's a possibility that we could just say R&D run. And if that's the case, the second Conduit actually saves 2 credits every run. We have to play this turn perfectly. Memorization also almost lost me an L5R tournament. Played a card that let me look at opponent's hand. They had 20 plus cards and I had to memorize each one of them for the line to work. Yeah, the no max hand size might be the big problem there, but there's no taking an L5R from my understanding. So Rahi needs to figure out what we're capable of. We have Hannah. We're going to be plus 3 credits next turn at a minimum, 16. And then we have a simul chip to get whatever we want. Turbine's an option. Hush is an option. We have 2 muses. Yeah, of course. Even if she install advances in Ikkoa, we have to spend so much running it. Like that's probably worth something. Whether or not she has to play around pinhole is an issue. And we are weak to upgrades. I do think pinhole's definitely worth considering. It's just kind of hard to play with the price. At a minimum 2, we can run HQ, which is like 2 clicks for 4 credits if we grab a sure gamble. Now, border control can have something to say about that, but it's something. They don't have to play around pinhole. Well, if she counts her influence, which she can, it's just most people don't. It's just like, it's tricky to do that. But yeah, technically every single card, well, yeah, every single influence card is available, so she can. So we need to get in with a click in 2 credits. So we probably actually hush the MIC. That might be the most important thing. Unless we find this to be a border control, then we'll hush the border control. You should run archives? I don't think so. We chased the Spin Doctor out last turn. It'll be like a panic run if we have nothing less. There's 4 points in there. I don't think so. I think she's actually had an agenda drought. I think now our R&D is giving agendas. Because like for the first couple turns, she didn't push. And we did not have a rig. So I'm assuming that she doesn't have extra agendas. Unless like the Rashida somehow drew multiple agendas. Draw, okay, that's good. She can still do install advance or just install even it's worth us running into. Because we don't know where any of the seamlesses are besides 1 in hand. Which there easily could be 2 in hand. We have to run this even if she doesn't advance it. Okay, so that can still be the game. So we have to run this. Shot, I'm just saying wrong place is a joke. All right, Exu. We taught him wrong as a joke. So we have to still run this. It might not be the winning agenda, but we know she has 1 seamless, and with 13 cards in R&D, it's likely she has 2 seamless, which means next turn she can do advance, advance, advance. The Spin Doctor is really tricky here, because if she has a Spin Doctor here, it means she can have more cards in hand for Anoetic, which means that she can fire Anoetic to actually a fair few times. The problem is if she fires Anoetic, oh, this is really, really bad. Yeah, this is really bad, because this looks like a Spin Doctor. It could be a Rashida, but if it's a Spin Doctor and there's an Anoetic, she can fire Anoetic 3 times and then still have 2 seamlesses in hand. This is where like Burner just wins. So our options are try to win off of R&D with Conduit. I'd be tempted to run R&D, then hand to the remote, spin, and run R&D again. Yeah, it might be our only option. I don't think we can contest this. There's also a chance that she doesn't have all the seamlesses, but like we have to run this so many times because Anoetic fires 3 times, and then we have to deal with Mana Garm on each one. So I think she's forcing our hand to running R&D. If that's the case, we don't need a simul-chip for the hammer, but we can. Every time that we run this, it saves us 2 credits. I mean, yeah, we have enough money to run this. This is... Nah, we'll do it. Good luck. We have to get lucky on R&D here. I'm assuming she doesn't have that many points. What else could we use a simul chip for? Like, we always could run this and like chase out a Mana Garm Anoetic. It has to be a Mana Garm because she didn't install another Mana Garm on R&D. So I'll simul chip here, I think. I don't know what else we would get with the simul chip that we really care about. The turbine makes it easy to run this. The only other thing is maybe the hush. Do you need break all of Drafter? Yeah, we do. We don't want to let her install things. Like she could put a Mana Garm in here. So it costs us 1 for 2 subroutines anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like Boitada is 1 for 2, as long as you've done the cool thing. MIC, greasing, okay. Thing is, like, she won't hand on server 3. That was a really bad start for us. Yeah, Snakebreaker is good. It's 2 for 2, but you can make it 1 for 2. Maybe this is just Rashida. I don't know. Now she's in a hard spot to res this thing, though. She might not. Yeah, she doesn't. Hold on. Wait, maybe now we fork server 1. Wait, do we fork server 1 now? I mean, it costs us like nothing to run this. We might as well. Well, it costs us a run on R&D. I think you need to wheel server 1. Yeah, I think you're right there. I think she was not going to res the Spin Doctor. I don't think I thought that through enough. If she res the Spin Doctor, is a mistake, and I don't think she's going to make that mistake. So we can still run this 3 times, though. If we can run this 3 times, the problem is we have to pay Mana Garm 3 times, and we can't afford Mana Garm 3 times. Yeah, Mana Garm Void is too much. So that's not good. So Mana Garm Void is a really big problem for us because we have to pay 5 every time. So we can make this 1 run and break for 4. I think at that point we can't run server 1. They're holding a seamless to win, then you can only Anoetic click twice. Yeah, but we still have to get in with a click and 2 credits, and she still has MIC, and we have to deal with Mana Garm. So right, she can only void twice, but we can't run the server like the 3.5 times necessary. We're better off just seeing more cards in R&D and or running HQ. If we run HQ, we have not that much like click compression stuff to do. Run it 1 time to least to make her have it. She definitely has it. But like even if she has it, I think the click is better spent running R&D. I think we'd rather conduit R&D 3 or 4 times and trash as many cards as we find. Like we just have to trash cards on R&D and run back. Run archives, yeah, we'll panic run archives last click. If we can only if we only see 1 more card in R&D, we'll run archives. But I don't think it's in archives. I don't like how the Void and Graham work together to make this hopeless. It's hopeless because we didn't contest this earlier when there's no ice, no agendas in the remote server. We also are not playing Pinhole or Light the Fire or Burner. Like, I do think that interaction is really, really strong, and we know that's strong, and they're going to address that in Elevation. They're very clear about it. But I think a lot of this is because we have made this bet and we're sleeping in it, and our deck is not built to beat it. I don't think it is as like rough as it sounds. MIC, Greasing, Trank. Fuck, if we trash this, we're down to 4 credits. Could be Mav and a defensive might be bluffing. Yeah, but she's gone through so much of her deck. Like, if it was a Mav, she might have purged by now. So if we trash as we go down to 4, break for 1, 2, 3. I mean, I guess we got to trash and then we can win on the next axis. We're going to do this here before we forget. So we install Muse. It's credit neutral. So we 1, 2, 3. That's bad because we can't even steal Ikawa. We have to click for credit and make 1 run. Yeah, this is really, really tough. Ah, shit. So running HQ makes sense. If she cracks the border control, so be it. Do you let the hammer give you a tag? Yes, for sure. We probably actually should have done it this turn already. I can't believe we didn't. We could have saved 2 credits. We definitely needed 2 credits. We shouldn't have broken all the hammer. Yeah. We lost 2 credits this turn, which is really important. That's painful. Yeah, that's really, really bad. 6 credits is a huge difference here. Well, I guess we keep running. You trashed Isn't Boy cheaper? We already trashed. Boy is 1 for 2, so we've already got to that point where we shouldn't have broken the tag. Break for 1. Uses Ace-Up Spotter if you get to the next turn. We're not playing there to be a next turn. We're assuming that she has it. At this point, she should have it. Yeah, this sucks. We really messed it up. We could have got 1 more run here while respecting Ikoa. That's really, really important. All right, we see 2 new cards, though. Oh, it is a map! Holy shit. So that's a Managarm. Oh, she held the line. What in the heck? Okay. I mean, GG. So if we run this, we break Brawn for technically 1, probably 2. MIC we can break for 2. Oh, man. I think we just do credit, create a commission. I could run Archives for y'all. We have to play for another turn. Yeah, we do, which means we don't run Archives. I think we just do credit creative and hold. I think that's a good game, though. Why not run HQ for gambles? Because she can border control us. And if it's the last turn of the game, she will border control us. So we spend a click to do nothing. It's 2 clicks, 3 clicks to place your gamble. So it's like marginally better than clicking for credit. Because if it's the last turn, she border controls for sure. So it's not worth anything. It looks like we have another turn. If you haven't got rid of your bike, you could clear the tag for free. Yeah, but if we steal Nikoa, we can't hit the bike. And I don't care about the tag. Like, that's the big thing, is if we hit an Nikoa, we have to spend our last click and you can't hit the bike because it costs a click. Looks like we still have a game, though. How do you feel about the inevitable, Kenya, how's it going? Effects like MSC or border control. As a corp, those ice feel weak, but when you encounter them as a runner, find them borderline unfair. I think it's really important that ice has more text than just subroutines, because then it just comes down to, do they have their breakers or not, and how cheaply do they break them? Border control is one of my favorite ice in the whole game. There's a lot of ways to play around it. It's very powerful. MIC is very similar, except it's also like just a good ice, I think, for cost for credits. This card is a bit underplayed. But I do think having text on ice, as much as like Null Signal Games maybe has too much text on ice to some extent, like you can criticize both ways. I think they're very cool. Now, I think it's maybe a bit obnoxious if there's too much access to things like Hush and ways to blank text. And right now, Hush is the only way that really deals with this sort of text. There's a lot of ways to play around these cards. So I don't feel like we're in a meta where this is an immense problem. Again, I think ice is cool, and text on ice is important. Ice not being res all the time and just being a money trade makes the game much more interesting. Slow rolling? I don't think she has it. Can you hear that outside? There's a lot of fire trucks. Text on ice has made running servers and installing a server so much more interesting. Yeah, it's just like, if it just comes down to money, can you break the ice the cheapest? You end up in a rig like this out of 9 out of 9 games, right? Like, it's not something you want in the game. Game like this are why Netrunner beats any other games in my book. So many impactful decisions. Yep. Yeah, really, really cool. Assets only is the way. If you want to. I don't think she has it. So we know there's a Mana Garment server 1 and there's a Mana Garment in hand. A Seamless in hand. We still have a lot of work to do. Does anyone remember the top of the deck? I think she drew into an MIC, and behind the MIC was... What was behind the MIC? a greasing, and then a trank we trashed. Okay, well, we have to pawn something. It's probably the DZ. Lucky Charm says no. Yeah, Lucky Charm says no. Always have a backup plan says no. There's a bunch of like weird niche stuff. None of those really see a lot of play. I think Lucky Charm is better than amount of play it sees, but no shot she has. No, she definitely doesn't have it, but now she has it. Now she has it. All right. What a game. Okay. So now this looks like single seamless into 5-3, or she just doesn't have it. We're also tagged, so the greasing is like worth something, but I don't think she plays any 3-2s anymore. So greasing got so much worse without Luminal. Like, that's kind of funny. So we should pawn something because it turns off Conduit, turns on Boitada and saves us 2 credits. We can go see a bunch of cards in R&D and hope that we can win. We can run HQ once, get the access, assume she doesn't border control, and that can maybe give us an econ card or a hush. If we want to run this remote server, we know that... How's there 2 upgrades in there? Huh? Wait, there was 3 upgrades on the server the turn before? It was Mavirus and Managram and one Awake? How did that happen? Yeah, we're going to sell the DZ. And then we're going to be running R&D here with the Conduit. Each run is 2 credits. I think that's all that matters. We have a couple runs to make. If you're in HQ run, you get the chip for Hush. Yeah, but I'm assuming she'll border control it. The thing is, like, we don't really need to hush these because I don't think we're going to run this. It's still just as hard. We still have to get in with a click left and 2 credits and a Managram and an MIC. Like, it's hard. Well, this just sees a couple non cards. Yeah, I think this always just was in there. I think I just missed how many cards are in there. Again, we should have 2 more credits. I feel really bad about that. Talking about not hitting the break all button, and this is why it happens. Stop hitting the break all button. This is like very obviously what happens when you hit the break all button. It is bad technology. Don't do it. You lose your boomerangs, you break bad subroutines. So greasing into seamless, that's not good. Well, we've committed to it. Now running HQ, if she has an Ico, isn't totally safe. Like, we're in such a bad spot. You have to think about the breaking ice. It feels good. Now, we need to break the drafter, just because putting a Mana Garment R&D is bad. Again, 2 more credits here would have been huge. So I don't want to waste brain power on some random DJ Los lines. Okay, now. 2 seamless. Holy crap, that's so bad. Now we know it's equal to single seamless. Like, we know that she doesn't have the double seamless, but it doesn't matter, unfortunately, on this board state. So we can't run running HQ, so we only have a single click. So the best we can do is see another card in R&D. We can't win. We just can't win anymore because of Ikua. Like, the most cards if we run archives, we purge the Conduit. So like, that's bad. If we run HQ, we have a single click left, so we can steal 1 2-pointer. We're just cooked. This is the slowest PD game, and we still did not prepare for it appropriately. How? How do we not prepare for this? Oh my god, this is so bad. I hacked the agendas out of the game. Maybe they play Vulnerable Audit. I would be very surprised. Our only way to win is if she's not playing Ekoa, which would be super wild. Maybe check archives and go R&D in the reverse order. It's like not worth anything because it just purges it out. We have to hope that this is not the 5-3. This stinks. 3 2-pointers? Yeah, but we just can't see that many cards unless it's like an all-in archives, like throwing out a bunch of 2-pointers. But why would she throw out 2-pointers? She had a remote server. Like, we're just looking for this Ikua. Click Conduit? Yeah, huge, 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 huge. Whatever. It didn't matter. We're just gonna see another seamless. It's good to hit that button. She did deliberate for quite a while. Maybe it isn't the 3-pointer. I think it is. I think she needs to figure out whether we can get in there or not. Break. Oh man, 2 more credits. That's fine. I'll stop kicking myself. No take backs. Greasing. Seamless. Seamless. No, we're seeing that? That is what we're seeing? So what's in the remote server? How do we see every card that we've been playing around? Like, maybe she has none of it. Now here, I don't want to trash this because if she scores the agenda, she can put that into the server. So I'm just not going to trash that, I think. That might be a fallacy. Oh, that's so bad. It's not another map. Maybe it is. I don't know. We can run HQ here for 1 and see if she cracks the border control. If she doesn't, we get a card back. I might as well just click for credit. Installing the Muse is like better than clicking for credit, but we have an MU issue. Game's over. Second Mav. There's no way. It's on border. She has border control. I don't think she has 2 Mavs. What a game. What a game. Thought I had that on lock, and I had nothing. How many points in hand? Yeah, we had nothing there. Just setting up for a late game we cannot capitalize on. Another Aqua ready to go. That tracks. Remote is Anoetic Manny. No void. Yeah, I saw one. Beans. Could have ran it. Yeah, so we could have ran it. Maybe we should have called her on it. I just thought with like a 10 cards left in the deck, she probably had it. Maybe she's only on 1 Anoetic because she's on border controls. But this server, it's just Managarm. Double Managarm. Oh, it's double Managarm. Maybe I missed the turn that she installed the double Managarm because we saw it in HQ. Maybe I misread the board. Because we saw the Managarm. I don't know when the second card entered HQ there, the remote server. Because this server we actually could have beat. Yeah, we could have actually dealt this like 2 turns ago. Fuck, maybe we should have just called it and said you didn't have it. Wait, maybe she's on 1 Anoetic. You're not wasting anything to go check that have it remote. Yeah, I agree. This remote is actually relatively cheap. That tracks. Yeah, so she only has 1 void, and it's because she's on border control. So probably when we saw the border control, we could expect this on a single void deck. Yeah. Yeah, that tracks. Bummer. All right, we learned something good there. Yeah, she's on border control. She's on 1 Anoetic. Yeah, I think that's worth calling then. Because I think her early game was so ugly, she probably didn't have an Anoetic to feel comfortable, so we should have called the remote server to being some amount of bluff. So seeing the border control early, we probably should have contested the remote server. Yeah, I feel bad, especially the hammer too. This is influence, so like this is the Anoetic influence for sure. Bummer. Okay, so we learned something there. I think we definitely had a shot into that. We just had to call the influence a bit better. Yeah. Yeah, we probably should have forced her to have it. The Spin Doctor play just looked so good. Like the Spin Doctor play sold the Anoetic. And for what it's worth, the turn that we like ran R&D, saw Conduit, and then ran the Spin Doctor, she didn't res. I wonder if we should have just ran the Spin Doctor to get out of the way. It might have been right to just like chase the Spin Doctor first and then go back. Because she didn't pop the Spin Doctor and we ended up losing the value of the Hannah in some ways. But that Spin Doctor was so good. It made it look like it was going to be an 8-hand Anoetic. Fuck. Well done. Really well done, Rahi. Oh man, I gotta play more of this deck. I gotta learn how this works. I gotta play Pawnshop tonight in startup. Oh, I'm already cooked. My head is broken. I can't keep playing Netrunner today. Oh, it begins. It's all right. I got snare. I'm unbeatable. How's everyone doing? Thanks for hanging out on a Tuesday. Where am I? I should leave the game or something. Hopefully y'all having a good time. We're going to call this stream a bit earlier today because we have to go off to G&K. Still got to make dinner and do all the publishing and stuff like that. So apologies for the shorter one. We'll be back on Wednesday at Backroom Deals to do some streaming over there if you're not subscribed. And then, of course, on Thursday, we'll be playing in person with Pat, which I'm super excited about. I think that's going to be an absolute treat. Shout out to all these names here and more. These are folks that support the Metropole Grid on Patreon. You can find the link below. It's never too late to support the channel. These are, mind you, the Sure Gamble and Degree Mill tier patrons. We have a lot of daily cast patrons. Their names are unfortunately not here, but incredibly appreciated to give me the time to set up all this stuff and do streaming on Tuesdays and all that good old fun Netrunner stuff. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, if you want to take a second to like the video, the stream, that actually helps a heck of a lot as another way to support the channel. Doesn't cost money. That's always quite nice. I felt like there's something else important to say. I forget what it is. That's okay. Oh yeah, what's it called? Degree Mill. We do lessons on this channel, and currently on the Patreon, we only have so many slots. There's like 5 slots. For what it's worth, if you're looking for lessons, I can probably work some more slots into there. I just don't know what the demand is looking like. I also want to shout out to Salvador Eduardo Perez Ramirez for recently supporting the channel on Sure Gamble tier. Thank you so much for the support. But if you're looking for like one-on-one sessions, those are something that we do off the channel. where we sit down and then at any level of Netrunner, if you want to improve, whether it's people just getting into the game, trying to figure out standard, who are trying to improve from standard to be competitive standard players, that is something we've been doing on this channel for a while now. And I think they've been pretty successful. I've got really good feedback. If that's something that you're interested with, I can always make up more slots on Patreon or off Patreon. Just hit me up, either find me on Discord, or if you just want to send an email to metropolegrid@gmail.com, just because I need to know if people are not asking because there's not slots, and I'm not making slots because people are not asking. That can end up like that. So slots are hard. Yeah, slots are hard. I think that's mostly it. Otherwise, see you out there Tuesday if you're in Montreal. Maybe we'll see you on Wednesday at some backroom deals, and then we'll be back on Thursday. Thanks so much for hanging out on a Tuesday. I need to really eat some food before playing more Pawnshop Lat today, that's for sure. Oh, Pawnshop Ari, even trickier. Thanks so much for hanging out. See you in a bit.